his career versus his Cincinnati counterpart Joe Burrow, Sunday is big for Mahomes, explains our Harry Douglas.
His legacy is already cemented. Now you want to start adding things to it. And when I mean adding things to it, what's on the line for Patrick Mahomes within this ball game? You get another opportunity to go play for a second Super Bowl that you want to add to your resume. You get an opportunity to keep that crown that you now wear, because it's not Joe Burrow's, it is Patrick Mahomes. You get an opportunity to keep that crown.
Harry Douglas of Fitz and Harry. Mahomes, Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, Bengals QB Joe Burrow, Bills QB Josh Allen, and Vikings receiver Justin Jefferson, all finalists for AP 2022 NFL MVP. NBA Anthony Davis in line to return to the Lakers from a foot injury tonight versus the Spurs, reports ESPN's Dave McMenamin.
We all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time your car breaks down, don't call it quits. Head to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
ESPN690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year two pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! Well, what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
Hey, what's happening on a big Wednesday here in Springfield at Spring Sports Brewery? And we've got the head coach coming in for Jaguars All Access tonight on Fox 37 o'clock. Hopefully you make your way down here and put my study to the test. Will it be a bigger crowd for Doug Pederson today at Spring Sports Brewery, or for Trevor Lawrence back on December the 1st after that Baltimore win? What do you say, guys? Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz back in the Action Sports Shack studios.
I think
Trevor
will have had the bigger audience when it's said and done.
Doug.
Trevor's the heartthrob. He's the celebrity.
Doug's the coach.
Yeah, Doug's like everyone's favorite dad.
That's what you got to go see him.
Doug was named the finalist for the AP Coach of the Year today. So he's coming off a big honor. That's like coming off a big fourth quarter like Trevor did.
That's fair.
Back in the Baltimore game.
I support the man.
It is interesting because if you go back to December 1st when Trevor was here, it's not like they were rolling. They were 4-7. They come off that big win over Baltimore, of course. And Trevor's Trevor, to your point. And Trevor hadn't done like a public appearance really in town since he got here, almost a year and a half earlier. And most of COVID and all the other stuff, and really they just weren't good. And so he's probably pretty calculated with his appearances. And so that was one of his first public appearances, if the first. I think it might have been. Well, the same goes for Doug. Doug's been busy ever since getting here kind of late in the coaching cycle in early February. And I don't remember him being out and about anywhere. So this will be kind of the first chance to meet Doug off the field in a different setting for people and kind of get up and up close with the head coach, who is a favorite. Like, he's beloved right now in Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
So much so I asked him the question Monday. I was like, do you feel like you're more loved in Philly after a Super Bowl or right now here in Jacksonville? And he totally deflected the question.
Smart man.
Did not answer the question.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to set him up for failure. I was just trying to set him up for...
Sounds like you're trying to trap. A little gotcha reporting from Martineau.
Yeah, that really wasn't it, but I could see why he might have thought it was it. I don't even think he thought it was it. I think he was just uncomfortable with the idea of people loving him so much, right? That's kind of an awkward thing. So it's going to be a love fest for Doug tonight, and I'm not sure he's going to always be in love with that. But sometimes, getting those compliments isn't easy.
No, I'll tell you, man, I get them all the time, and it's uncomfortable. I wish you guys
don't
would
have
stop.
to worry about that. Kasey, stop telling Aaron how good he is,
Yeah,
please.
seriously, Kasey.
And no worries.
And how much he means to you.
Yeah, wasn't me.
And how good of a leader he is.
Oh, that definitely was not me. Yeah, that was his other fictional leaders that he's out here, or followers that he's out here leading.
They're not
Did we just have an open spot on the Orlick for Leadership Group? Is that why you were invited?
They needed to fill up the
I see
roster.
what I was like, I don't really understand the question.
They had to
Can
fill
you-
out the bench. You need 12 guys to show
you're
up.
not allowed to use the meeting room unless you have this many people.
You need a full team there.
It's almost
Two
like
teams.
a minimum when you're ordering takeout. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it was like me running cross country in high school my sophomore year. It's why I finished last in the state. They just needed somebody else to jump in.
Exactly. When
Last
the
in
team's
the state is pretty impressive.
when the team's down
Well, it's
80,
the state of Rhode Island, man.
you got to empty the bench. That's when Shachter gets in there.
We'll see how
last
you
in the-
feel when I'm hitting you in the batting cage, Case.
Last in the state of Rhode Island was like 48th. I think it was. It was like 48th or 53rd or something like that. It wasn't like this insane number.
Welcome to
Last
Rhode
in the
Island.
sta-
Population 70.
Last in the state of Florida would be like 1,464, right?
Exactly.
Something like that, maybe even more. Brent Martin, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz, Brent and Friends on a Wednesday on ESPN690. It is an exciting day to have Coach coming out here and I guess continue to put a bow on this 2022 season, which we will do. And we know what Doug Pederson has meant to this franchise already, and it won't always be the glory days. There will be disappointing days ahead at some point, especially now that expectations change. But it's worth just talking about Doug a little bit more. He is a finalist for that AP Coach of the Year, deservingly so.
Definitely.
The other guys on the list, Brian Dable, Sirianni was on that list from Philadelphia, which is pretty ironic that they actually replaced Doug with Sirianni, who also has been outstanding for the Eagles. The Eagles have made a lot of good moves, and you have to give them credit for all the moves that they have made. Kyle Shanahan, another coach on that list. And who am I missing? There's one more.
You said Dable, you said Shanahan,
Sirianni,
Sirianni. I got it right in front of me. Hold on.
Doug, and
Coach of the Year, Sean McDermott.
yeah. Who's it going to come down to?
I mean, I appreciate them throwing McDermott on there or whatever, but I don't really think he's in the conversation with Shanahan, Sirianni, Dable, and Peterson. And then if I had to file it down even further, I mean, personally, I don't know if the people voting on it feel this way, but anytime you got a team with like 9 All-Pros versus a team with none, I got to imagine I would favor the coach with less talent on the roster or less of the traditional talent on the roster. So I'm looking at you, Kyle Shanahan, Nick Sirianni. I would throw you out immediately. And it's just between, for me, Dable and Peterson. And, you know, hometown bias here. We'll give it to Peterson. Dable did a hell of a job, though.
Yeah, do you think it weighs at all that Dable and the Giants beat Peterson and the Jags here in Jacksonville?
Probably.
Maybe, yeah.
You think so?
Maybe.
I think it could come down to it. If it's that close, you have the team, and they won on the road, by the way, so I think that will play itself in. And I agree with Aaron that I think it should come down to Peterson and Dable because both teams were a mess in their own respect. The Giants don't even have the roster that the Jags have, in my opinion. They do win the game over them. And I think maybe that New York City bias will get him the win. I think Dable's the one who will eventually get it. But I do think it's those two. And if either of the other guys get it, I mean, good job, I guess. But to Aaron's point, if you have a talented roster, you have a talented roster. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll say this. We talk about coaching and maybe bad coaching sometimes and all the carousel that takes place. I think there's a lot of good coaching in the NFL this year, you know. I mean, you look up and down from McDermott to – I think Robert Saleh did a heck of a job. I know they fell off. But overall, he did a good job getting them even in position.
Yeah, agreed.
This year, they were in the same position as the Jags, and Saleh obviously lost it down the stretch. I think Mike McDaniel did a great job until they kind of faltered down the stretch. Who am I missing?
Well, you can't give
Cincinnati.
Belichick any credit, but certainly Cincinnati.
Nah,
Go
probably
ahead.
not. But Zach Taylor.
Yeah, where's Zach Taylor in all this?
Yeah, Zach Taylor's not mentioned here. Obviously, Andy Reid. I don't think they're going to mention – yeah, Tomlin was terrific this year, right? I think we had that question. We stole it from somebody. The 9-8 coaches, like who would be the coach of the year, right?
Adnan Verk.
Yeah, that was a good question. Like Tomlin, he did a heck of a job with that football team.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get, the Chargers. I know, Kasey, block your ears.
What's the matter, Kasey?
They did go 10-7. They made the playoffs.
I thought Staley did a great job with that team, especially with all those injuries. Of
Your
course.
expectations are low then. If he did a great job. Hey, can you show up and actually hold the clipboard and call some things? Yes. Oh, coach of the year.
I don't know, man. 10-7, go to the playoffs.
Nice.
Yeah,
Blowing
they were
27-point
6-6. They were 6-6, and down the stretch they pulled away to make the playoffs. Like, you got to give them credit.
Nice.
The entire NFC East guys, all those guys did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
I think Mike
overperformed.
McCarthy did a good job.
I guess you could say that. Look, I hate
Might
to
be
give
in
him
the
credit, but
minority
12-5, it's a decent season. Obviously, Dak being hurt, what was it, like 6 games? Everyone left the Cowboys for dead. Here comes Cooper Rush with an amazing fill-in job. So, yeah, maybe give McCarthy some credit there.
And then the Vikings, right?
Hold on.
First
Before
year.
we move out of the NFC East, though, you want to give Ron Rivera credit on the Commanders? I mean, they were
Probably
kind of
not.
a mess because of him and his decision-making, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think he did the greatest of coaching jobs, but they also were right in the mix till the end, and they're still not the most talented team. Carson Wentz didn't work out, so they were playing a backup QB, and so they were in the middle of it. You know, that NFC East, which proved to be the toughest division, and they were in the middle of it. They gave the Eagles their first loss, so. Yep. Minnesota, right? Another pretty good coaching job, but not good enough. Kind of feels a little bit like Staley and the Chargers, to be honest.
I'd agree with you on that.
And
Dan Campbell.
Detroit. Like, Campbell's not even on this list.
Yeah.
Why isn't Campbell on the list?
And it's weird because he was on the list and the odds list all season. Even when the Lions weren't great, he was still on that list. And then suddenly at the end of the year, when it counts, nowhere to be found.
What else are we missing? How about Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll's job was masterful. Yeah, everyone thought Pete Carroll's team was going to be a 3-win team. We were looking at this team in the preseason going, really, guys? Drew Lock?
Yeah, back to Campbell, I don't understand how he's not on there, but McDermott is. Like, I understand what happened at the end of the season with Buffalo and to rally the team. I get all of that. We're going to talk about this later. Like, everybody on the planet picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl, and they didn't even get to the conference championship. So why?
Yeah, if I'm looking at the Bills, I'm like, you guys underperformed this year.
Yeah.
He totally got in the mix. And by the way, McDermott's done a fine job with that program and with the Bills. But he totally got in the mix because of his handling of the DeMar Hamlin situation. Like, that's why he got into that top 5.
Feels like a lame reason to be coach of the year.
Well, I'm just saying, like, he did handle it very well, but I think people gave him props for the way he handled that situation.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
I mean, he had a good temperament about it. It was real, it was authentic. And he has done a good job. Like, he's a good coach, too, and they've done a good job with Buffalo. I know they are disappointed there, but I think that's part of the reason. But to your point, Dan Campbell got hosed on the finalist list.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They were
he
in
did a
it to
terrific
the
job.
last game of the season. Then they had nothing to play for and won anyway just to keep Green Bay out. Like, I mean, all the way down to the last minute, Detroit was fighting. And, again, Jacksonville had a better year. They had the second pick, and they were in position to go to the playoffs. They just needed some help. So
I would almost say that
I don't get that.
Pete Carroll might have gotten hosed more than Dan Campbell. I mean, granted, the Seahawks kind of faltered down the stretch and ended up 9-8, but they did make the playoffs with a team that almost everybody left for dead.
Yeah, again, so my point, what's the point of this? There are a lot of good coaching jobs in the NFL this year. A lot.
Yeah.
Like, guys did more with less, or at least from expectation, and expectation isn't always right. Preseason polls aren't always right. But listen, we all know the NFL pretty well, and those guys certainly exceeded expectations in Detroit, in New York, in Seattle, here in Jacksonville. I would say even in New York with the Jets.
Is it weird that there's more good coaching than bad coaching? Usually there's a lot of bad coaching.
There
This
were
year, a lot of
11
good.
changes. 11 changes last year.
Wow.
You know, and even how about these coaching jobs? Like a guy like Wilkes in Carolina.
I was going to say that. Like, maybe the Panthers didn't have a great season, but when Steve Wilkes took over, that team responded.
And I'll give you another one. Dennis Allen. I didn't think that thing was going to be good, but he actually got them winning games and in the middle of it. Like, they were super competitive, even though I don't know why they never played Jameis Winston. Like, there's some other things, but it's not like he was awful.
I think that team came in below expectations, the Saints.
You think so?
Yeah, I think there were higher hopes for them. I think when Jameis didn't work out, obviously that's a big challenge to overcome when your starting quarterback isn't who you hope he's going to be, especially when he's got fractures in his back. But at least they had Andy Dalton there waiting in the wings, and the man was a serviceable backup. I think people looked at that offense with Kamara, with Chris Olave, with possibly Mike Thomas, who never really came to fruition on that offense. I think they looked at that team and had higher expectations for him.
Do you think we should start an Urban Meyer Worst Coach of the Year award?
Oh, that's a great idea. I like that.
That's a good one.
And so if we did Urban Meyer Worst Coach of the Year award, who would get it in 2022?
Do they still have to have their job?
That's where I
Not
went.
really. Where'd you go to?
Nathaniel Hackett. That's where I went with it.
I got to go Cliff Kingsbury.
Or Frank Reich. He's a good candidate.
Frank Reich is. Well, yeah, like, here's why I go Cliff. Like, their roster was pretty decent. Like, we thought. It turned out it wasn't, but, like, they had players. They had pieces. It didn't work. At least the
What do you mean it turned out it wasn't? Like, I know the record was bad, but the team had injuries to deal with.
They did. So, but I think we thought, like, Hollywood Brown would be good. And I know he did get hurt, but, like, when he was in there, he wasn't that effective.
But it was a new team for, like, all that stuff was new. I don't think he really had a chance to get his feet down. And then D-Hop was 8 games late to the season.
I'm with that one.
Yeah.
But, like, Kyler Murray
Got hurt
at the end.
No. Even before he had the season ender, he was playing hurt.
But did he develop? Did you see him get clearly better?
No.
And that's what they brought him in to do.
Fair. That's fair.
How about Matt Rule? I mean, Wilkes came in and won games right after he left.
Yeah, Matt Rule. That was a rough one, too.
So, other candidates, Stefanski in Cleveland?
I think you got to get it to Hackett because every week it seemed like a new bad coaching drama out of Denver.
I like Hackett, and I hate to say it in the context of it, but, I mean, that's probably Hackett.
Yeah.
What about Raiders? What's Buddy's name?
McDaniels. Yeah, he'd be my second choice, actually.
Not only that, like, he messed up, like, the quarterback situation, too. Like
the roster, they're about to get rid of Hunter Renfrow and some of these other pieces. Like, Mark Davis putting all these chips into Josh McDaniels, and I'm looking at that team going, for why?
And they signed Chandler Jones for, like, a ton of money. And rumor has it he did play this year. I know the stats don't look like it, but he did actually go out on the field this year.
That is true. And that was a big miss.
Rumor has it.
Hey, I'll give you another one. Sean McVay in the category?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champs to, like, not even in it after week 8?
He did deal with a ton of injury. He went through 4 quarterbacks. All his wide receivers were out. His running back held out. Like, that was a tough year for the roster.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it on Sean McVay.
Hackett probably does win it.
Yeah, Hackett wins.
Who's in
That's
third?
just uncomfortable.
This is fun.
What's that?
This is my kind of toxic conversation, guys.
This is fun.
It's like,
let's
cool,
see who else
everyone
failed
else was
miserably.
great, but let's talk about who stunk. Let's go.
Hey, we could do this. Worst Free Agent of the Year award. We might have just found it in Chandler Jones.
This is a good show to do. I like this show. Maybe after the Super Bowl's done, we do like the Razzie Awards.
Who gets the Kenny Galladay Worst Free Agent of the Year award?
That's a good one.
Who gets the worst quarterback? Russell Wilson.
Oh.
That's tough for Denver. They went in the Urban Meyer and the
Oh, yeah. We got
Oh, man, they're taking home some hardware. At least they got something.
the Ryan Leaf Quarterback Award.
There you go. They get the Ryan Leaf and the Urban Meyer. That is tough.
The double-double.
It is pretty wild to look at the haves and have-nots in the NFL, and now you go recycle them again. I will say this on the coaching front. Pederson, year 1, obviously with the Jags, so not a first-timer, but O'Connell, first-timer. Obviously got him to the playoffs. Dable, first-timer, got him to the playoffs. McDaniel, first-timer, got him to the playoffs. Who am I missing? Of these new coaches, Dennis Allen, okay. Who else came in?
McDaniels.
Chicago got the number 1 pick after year 1. So if you look at all the new coaching hires and how they did, especially those first-timers, the first-timers did pretty well to make the postseason. And year number 1 as a head coach.
Yeah,
in the
you don't
National
often
Football
see
League.
it. You're right.
The other thing I thought about this, and I don't think we talked about this yesterday enough, guys, when we were talking about Trent Baalke and this whole situation with Doug, but Trent Baalke was out of the National Football League 3 years ago. And he was out for like 2 or 3 years. And then the Jags bring him in under Dave Caldwell, and then he gets bumped up to the GM when Caldwell gets fired. And then he keeps his job, and people didn't want that to happen. And now they turn it into this kind of season. And 2 years in, Baalke's coming off one of the great drafts, although Urban probably should get a little bit of credit for some of the guys they picked, too, in 2021. And then the free agent class this time around, credits to Baalke, and it was terrific. So he's made some really good moves. And then you get Doug Pederson, who was out of coaching last year. And it's not like he forgot how to coach, and he's still fresh off the Super Bowl, quite frankly, a few years ago. But just think about it. They took 2 guys off the street that didn't have a history with each other, and they've pieced it into what could be Coach of the Year and a guy that could be probably in the mix for, like, Exec of the Year. If could be in the mix. They're not going to do that, I don't think, here in Jacksonville. And they have this crazy good season, and now it looks like the future is now for the Jacksonville Jaguars with 2 guys that really didn't have a relationship and were out of the National Football League for a little bit of time.
Well, look, if you're
wild is that?
If you're going to give Baalke a lot of credit for that and making the relationship with Doug work, I think we also have to give credit and tribute to the guy on top, Shad Khan, who was patient with Trent Baalke, like he's been patient with a lot of these other guys, sometimes to a fault, sometimes to criticism in the local, market. But he decided to take his time with Trent. He was a believer, and they both believed in Doug, and it's worked out really well so far.
Kasey, I don't think you find it in sports, though, right? Guys coming off the street, again, absence of coaching for Pederson, taking a year off, and then also, just most GMs aren't out of the league for a few years. And then to come in and just fit together, and I do think you give a lot of credit. Listen, the personality traits are questioned when it comes to Trent Baalke, if we're being honest. The personality traits are not questioned when it comes to Doug Pederson. And I got to believe this is the guy that kind of helped make it work in this whole situation where some other guys, when we know in the process, didn't want the Baalke thing around.
Yeah.
And Doug made it work.
He did. And I think it should just tell all the teams out there, just pick two totally different people and shove them together like puzzle pieces that don't fit. Also, if you're a parent, maybe give a new idea on how to make a puzzle work with your kids. Just shove the pieces together and whatever works, because this obviously worked. And in all seriousness, I'm not sure that I would try it again if I was Shad Khan. This worked. So it's great. But if this, in 20 years, if they got to make some changes here because Doug's won 8 Super Bowls and he just wants to retire, maybe go the traditional route. But it's understated that Trent Baalke was a guy nobody wanted to work with. Doug's like, sure, why not? And it turned into this. And, by the way, projects out to be still good down the line, and Trent Baalke might redeem himself in the ultimate character turn of all time. We talked about what he did this year. Oof. Imagine if they draft well again and they just keep doing what good organizations do. That would be something.
Oh yeah,
that would be. It would. And now they had that was part of the conversation yesterday. They got to turn it into now a draft and develop. They spent the money, and so now you have foundational pieces, and you got to keep replacing the big money guys with draft pick guys. You got to go find a safety eventually for Rayshon Jenkins. You got to go find that interior pass rusher instead of the Roy Robertson Harrises and Foley Fatukasi for next year or the year after that. I also think credit to Trent. He gave a ton of credit to Doug yesterday during his postseason news conference. And he said 3 things about Doug Pederson. I thought he nailed it. He basically said he's steady, he's fearless, and he's genuine. And I think it's a great way to describe what we think we know of Doug Pederson, don't you guys?
Well, I think steady and fearless are great traits to have, but genuine is the trait that I think was really necessary for this organization.
Crucial.
Yeah. And I think it was respected not just by the front office, but by the locker room as well.
Yeah, well said there. And Fearless, by the way, is the name of his book, Doug Pederson's book.
Ah.
So it's
nice.
It's apropos, and he lives it. And I think he's right. 2-point conversions. One of the things I'm going to ask Coach tonight here on the show, what was his favorite play call of the season? I want you guys to think about that too. What was the favorite call of the 2022 season that leaked into 23 for Doug Pederson? You got to pick one.
All right.
Your favorite play, offensively.
Oh, offensively?
Well, Doug's not calling the defense now.
It's not on defense.
I
guarantee you he had a play in my play. He called
it.
I know it.
Okay. I think I know where you're going, and that's fine. That's fine. That's okay, too. We'll be back, Spring Sports Brewery, where Doug Pederson will be tonight for Jaguars All Access, 7 o'clock. Come on out, say hello. We're in Springfield. It's Brent and Friends on ESPN690.
Guess who's going to be on Jags All Access this week?
This guy.
Now, that's right. Jags head coach Doug Pederson. Join your official Jag station live from String Sports Brewery.
I get the final say.
As Coach Pederson takes us through the historic Jaguars season.
Your AFC South champ favorite.
Jags All Access. Special Wednesday edition with the head coach. Tonight at 7 on Fox 30. Guess who's going to be on Jags All Access this week?
Before you buy a diamond anywhere.
That's right. Jags head coach Doug Pederson. Join your official Jag station live from String Sports Brewery.
I get the final say.
As Coach Pederson takes us through the historic Jaguar season.
Your AFC South champ favorite.
Jags All Access. Special Wednesday edition with the head coach. Tonight at 7 on Fox 30. Guess who's going to be on Jags All Access this week?
This guy.
That's right. Jags head coach Doug Pederson.
Window Products is offering the newest features in window technology.
Join your official Jag station live from String Sports Brewery.
I get the final say.
As Coach Pederson takes us through the
seal to help reduce your energy usage, all at an affordable price. This exclusive offer is for a limited time, so act now
to save big with 12 months, zero interest financing. Schedule a free estimate at AmericanWindowProducts.com. American Window Products, the window professionals. Financing at time of sale for new orders only.
Well, hello there. I am the Guitar Hotel. I have over 3,000 of the newest slot machines and nearly 200 table games with real cards and real dealers. Come experience my incredible lineup of restaurants, bars, and of course, Hard Rock Live. Or spend a day soaking up the sun in my 18 acres of poolside paradise. I can't wait to meet you. Visit hardrockholly.com to find out more.
If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Fields Auto Group is a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and buying or leasing a luxury car on the First Coast is easy with Fields Auto Group, Jacksonville's luxury auto group. Lexus of Jacksonville and Orange Park, Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, Orange Park, Jaguar Land Rover Jacksonville, Porsche Jacksonville, and where my wife leases her car from Fields Cadillac Jacksonville and St. Augustine. If the luxury car you want isn't in stock, no problem. Fields Auto Group will order it and at a fair price. So stop by a Fields store today and see what world-class service really means. FieldsAuto.com.
Jacksonville is a great place to live, and if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course, the family home. Why put your money in a New York City bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
ESPN690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
Shine Down, the Revolution's live tour. Friday, April 14th, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. With special guest, 3 Days Grace, and From Ashes to New. On sale Friday, January 27th at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Shinedown live.
The Players is proud to support the Boys and Girls Clubs on their mission to inspire and enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to realize their full potential as productive, responsible, and caring citizens. It's 41 days until the Players.
At Total Wine & More, save big on what you love this month with hundreds of deals. Get up to 35% off over 100 different wines and spirits, including Cabernet, sparkling wine, single barrel bourbon, and so much more. These savings are huge, and even better, they're on top of prices that are already the lowest in town. Deals this good don't last long, so visit Total Wine & More to find yours. Love what you find at the lowest price, only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I got my COVID-19 vaccine when I was pregnant. I wanted to do everything I could to help protect my baby and keep myself healthy. So I talked to my doctor and learned that vaccines are safe and effective when you're pregnant. My daughter Lauren was born healthy and happy, and she was protected against COVID. Getting your COVID, flu, and Tdap vaccines while pregnant keeps families protected against dangerous diseases.
To learn how to protect your family, visit vaccinateyourfamily.org/learn.
Listen to ESPN 690 anytime, anywhere, on any device. Whether you're at home or on the go, get the latest on the Jags, FSU, the Jumbo Shrimp, and Action Sports Jacks on Odyssey.com. That's AUDACY.com or on ESPN690.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Friends Show, ESPN 690. Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz, Brent Martineau, live at Strings Brewery, getting ready for the man to arrive. Doug Pederson tonight on Jaguars All Access. Brent is all of Twitter with excitement.
Yes, everybody's excited, I think, I hope.
I could tell. I could tell by your tone, Brent.
They should be. I'm interested to see. We'll see. It's just it's weird. It's the end of the year, but I think one last party here at Strings would be a good thing to sum up this year. With Doug Pederson, especially on the day when he gets named the finalist for the Associated Press Coach of the Year award, and well earned in that context. Doug did meet the media on Monday, and I know you're going to take us through that, Aaron Schachter. But now the offseason begins. But I always wonder about these guys. Can they take a breath? Like, everybody kind of wants to take a breath. I think the fans even want to take a little bit of a breath. They wish they were still playing on Sunday. But now that it's over, it's like, okay, let's get back to work. I didn't do anything for the last couple of weeks. I was so locked in on the Jags. Of course, Doug, it's his job, and he hasn't done a whole lot other than football. But now it's on to the next season already. Like, they had meetings this morning, and so you've got to start playing. I just don't think it ever ends.
I bet you this guy is able to shut it off when it comes time, though. At some point here in the next few weeks, Doug and Mrs. Doug will probably head to the Bahamas or something, and he'll shut the whole thing down mentally and enjoy himself, I bet.
I hope so. Hopefully that happens. And, of course, Doug's a big golfer. He hasn't had a chance to enjoy the golf courses here in Jacksonville yet.
Oh, he's got to get out there.
I think he will soon enough. And he also was living in West Palm Beach, which isn't that far. So I believe they actually go back and forth. Well, not him, but I think his wife goes back and forth down into the South Florida area throughout the course of the season. And so he probably will get away down to his wherever he belongs, to the golf course down there, see some friends, and then come back up here and get work done. So easy drive.
Well, before he
down
goes,
I-95.
Make sure you hit him up. Now that he's got some job security, he's got to buy a Dream 18 card from you.
I was just going to say, what's the over-under on golf questions that Brent asked Doug Pederson tonight?
Well, it's interesting,
lie.
Kasey, that you bring up Brent's questions, because we have a few of those cuts, too, after we listen to the Doug cuts. I want to go over Brent's questioning. We'll see how far he's come in the 2022 season as well.
See, Daniel, is Daniel on the line?
Well, we're going to have to get him on the line because I think he might have some beef with these questions.
Oh, you didn't like him?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just here to grade you, bro. It's subjective or objective, whichever one means I'm judging you harshly. That's what we're doing.
Only Brent. We should do this segment where only Brent's questions are allowed to be answered here on the show.
Really, I would just like to break down not the answers to the questions, but the questions themselves. Maybe that's what we'll do, especially in the offseason when we're we're at a lack of things to do. Well, let's get back to Doug. Doug was addressing the media, talking about the 2022 season. And all these questions kind of hover around the same topics, right? The big rocks for the Jaguars in the offseason, roster construction, right? You got a lot of unrestricted free agents or guys not under contract. What are you doing about that? The salary cap is another one of these big rocks. Hey, it's kind of tight. If you look at the books, how are we going to work our way around that? We're talking a lot about momentum with Doug going into the offseason. And then some of these questions got real specific on some of that stuff. So I'd love to get your reaction on Doug's reaction to some of these questions. We can start with the first one. I think it's something that we're not necessarily used to here in this market. Brent, you've alluded to it a few times. We've certainly mentioned it a few times, but you've got all these guys now on the roster whose contract is up at the end of the season, and they want back in. How often can we have said that about a Jaguars team where guys on the roster are like, no, sign me back up. I want to run it back with you guys. Cut one. What does it mean to Doug?
Well, it means everything, to us as a staff, to an organization, that the guys want to be here. The nature of our business, though, is you can't re-sign them all, and it's unfortunate, because it is a business and it's a business decision. But we hope to try to get as many of the guys back as we possibly can, and that was my message to those guys this morning. I met with the team as we try to re-sign them all if we can. Because we want to keep those core guys together. They were a big part of our success this season, but it's a credit to those guys, obviously, that they want to be here. We've established something this year that I think is sustainable, and we just got to build on it.
So there he goes, man. You can't keep them all, despite the salary cap not being a real thing. We learned that yesterday. You can't keep them all, Brent. Who's he talking about?
Well, I think he's talking about anyone from a Dewey Wingard to
maybe a Shaq Griffin,
DeJuan Smoot.
Not necessarily.
Griffin,
he's not a free agent, but obviously not everyone's going to be able to come back for next season.
Even Roy Robertson Harris, like they're under contract, but you might not keep them. Arden Key, like these guys who Here's the thing. I thought about this the last couple of days. These guys, now there's an emotional attachment to this football team.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. And I think there's an emotional attachment in the building. I think there's an emotional attachment outside the building with the fan base. I think there's almost an emotional attachment even with some of us in the media. Like Arden Key is awesome.
Yeah, and fun.
I don't want Arden Key to go anywhere.
Yeah, even off the field, just the thought of Arden in the locker room and all the fun stuff, like he's a good personality in the mix.
I'll give you another one. DeJuan Smoot's been terrific, and we love the story, and he's also a good football player. But I think we have to be honest with ourselves in this context. I don't think you want to keep everybody if you want to continue to get better.
Yeah.
Like, can you upgrade?
You need to.
Is there an ability to upgrade? Now, you don't want to downgrade, but it's fair to say that some of these players aren't Pro Bowl guys. Like, they didn't have a Pro Bowler on the roster.
Yeah.
So they got the most out of the roster. You hear what I'm saying? Like, maybe they do need to upgrade some of these spots. Say goodbye. We appreciate you're a good football player, but we think we can get somebody even a little bit better or that fits in this scheme a little bit better. Any of those things. And I think that's going to happen because you're not going to keep every guy. But at the end of the day, I don't think if you want to go to the promised land, you do want to keep every guy. You understand what I'm getting at?
I do. But, Kasey, what do you think, man? I think it's almost like a reverse bell curve because when you have nobody, you can take swings on big contracts. You can take swings on small contracts. You just need them all. When you have a good roster, you only need to fill in these small spots. You don't really have to take any risks. But when you're kind of on the cusp, like I feel like this roster is, like it's got potential to be a great roster, but you still need some fairly big pieces in there to take it to the next Super Bowl contention level. You can't go out there and just buy the biggest contract, but you can't take a small swing. You really do have to find a diamond in the rough to step it up substantially.
Yeah, you do, and that's why I tend to lean towards the guys that you have here if you believe in them, right? So Arden Key, for example, we've talked about it. He's a young player. Like, he's not at the end of his career. There's still a lot of good to get out of Arden Key, and you know, as a Jaguar staff and Mike Caldwell, they know the most about Arden Key versus a guy that they might want to sign or potentially draft to take his place. Like, and if you believe this guy is in the best spot for that development, then you keep him rather than take it, or you try to keep him rather than take a risk on somebody you don't fully know. That's kind of how I look at it.
It's a good point.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that, by the way, Bulky said that yesterday. The one nice thing about keeping guys is you know about them. If you go, it's risky to go get free agency once because you're going to give them money, and two, you don't really know the guy. I mean, you're doing your homework, but you really don't know. The one thing about all these guys in there, they know about them. They know their strengths and weaknesses, to Kasey's point. And, I just don't – I do think you can get better. You had no Pro Bowlers and no All-Pro guys. You want to go to the promised land. If you just run it back, like if every team just said run it back, guys, do you think they would do better the next year or worse the next year?
This specific team would do better.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they would do better.
If they didn't get anybody else but Calvin Ridley instead of Marvin Jones, you think they would be better than they were this year?
I do, yeah.
I agree with Aaron because you get another year of Trevor Lawrence getting better. You get, well, Calvin Ridley helps. But
look, they only really got to cook for like 6 or 7 games. The season's 17 games long. Like, they're going to go into this offseason, lose all of that momentum, and start it all up over again next preseason. You hope they hit the ground running, but you don't know.
Yeah, I actually agree with you that once you get that another year of the development, another year in the system, I think they will do better, even if they don't add anything substantial. And I think just for this sake of the argument, Cincinnati didn't add much. We don't know if they're better, but we know they're one win away from being the exact same or potentially better. So I think
that's a great example.
That's a team you could look at because they didn't do much.
And Kasey, your point wasn't lost on Doug. We were talking a lot about Trevor in this last of the season press conference. And one of the questions was, now that Trevor's been in the Doug Pederson system, like, what is the offseason plan for Trevor developing his understanding of the offense? This is cut 3, Kasey.
Our job as a staff this spring is really to refine it, and we want his input in that, and whatever he suggests, we've got to listen to that and really come up with a plan as we move forward, with the offense. He's a big part of it, and so that's the exciting part, I think, as a staff, as we get to go back through and watch our last year. We were watching all kinds of offenses, we're watching Philly stuff, we were watching Colt stuff, we were all kinds of stuff trying to put our system together, but now it's ours, and we want his input on that.
This is what I think is really key for Trevor in this offseason. I think this will actually attribute to an even larger step forward, year 2 to 3, than we saw 1 to the beginning of 2. I think the step he took in the middle of 2 was pretty substantial. But year 2 to 3 in his own offense, not in what Doug wants to run, not in what Doug has run in the past, but in Trevor's system that was written and edited by Doug. How does he then progress? I think you're going to see a giant step forward.
Yeah, I think Doug referenced that a ton of times this year. Like, hey, Carson Wentz year 2, Jalen Hurts year 2. Like, he talks year 2, and look at Burrow last year and other guys. If you can stay in the system, well, it is going to be year 3 for Trevor, but it's really year 2 for these guys together.
Yeah.
So they look at it that way, and I agree. There's no reason not to think that that's going to be a pretty big jump. 3 years in for Trevor, confident Trevor, and also year 2 with Doug in the system that's going to stay pretty continuous, even with the personnel around him. One thing I thought was interesting about Trevor Lawrence in his little locker room session on Monday, he said they have already identified things that they thought they could do when they reinvent the playbook in the offseason. Like even 5-6 weeks ago, they would have conversations like, hey, we might be able to work this off of that play or this set or whatever, that they said, we're not going to do it right now because the installation process you're not doing in the middle of the year like that. But they will revamp the book. And I just thought that context was pretty wild. The other part of what Doug just said is this kid's got influence now. He's got influence on this franchise.
That's what spoke out to me.
His voice matters, right?
Yes.
And that means you've got the guy, Aaron and Kasey. You've got the guy if you're ready to lean on a 23-year-old at the QB position.
I actually thought it was cool that he's got that voice because what Doug is talking about is not just the X's and O's in the playbook, but if Trevor's got input on the system and the plays, Trevor's got input on the roster as well. They're looking at him going, how do you feel about this guy? What do you think about working with this guy? It just solidifies the fact as if it was really up for question. But, you've got the quarterback, you've got the coach. They are working in unison.
Well, there's one other element to this, Kasey. You have to be comfortable. It's one thing to say it, and another thing to be forced to do it. Like, are they forced right now to have Lamar Jackson have influence on the organization in Baltimore because it might help them keep him? The answer is probably yes.
Yes.
But in this situation, there's no forcing. What I think they're showing him and they're saying to everybody is we are comfortable that this kid is that guy.
Yeah.
He's the CEO, and we're comfortable him in his input. Now, he's not going to run the roost, but he still, Kasey, has the confidence of the team and Doug, and that's something that changed throughout the course of the year. Doug, as the year went along, this last 5-6 weeks especially, he has become much more boastful about his quarterback. He was very low-key on that, didn't want to say too much or give too much praise. Well, over the last 5 or 6 weeks, Kasey, we heard it. It was like, this kid's real deal. He's good. He's the guy. He had a great year is what he said on Monday.
He did. He did have a great year. And when you are able to turn in a year like that where you face the struggle in the beginning and then at the end really hit the stride and show everybody why you were picked in the position you were and given the opportunity that you were given, it's an encouraging sign. But when you talk about the system and what they're going to run, I think I do look back to like Lamar Jackson, where they knew they had to change the system, but once they figured out Lamar was him, he had say on what they were going to do there. Patrick Mahomes, same deal. Joe Burrow, same deal right now. So I think it's an encouraging sign that they're going to take his ideas, and I'm not saying he's going to, write the playbook, but listen to what he knows he can do best and build off of that. I think that's where success comes from, and that's why you've seen a lot of these big-time quarterbacks. One, they're supremely talented, but two, they're doing what they want to do and do well.
And part of the reason they're given that leash is for maturity, and I don't know that there's a more mature quarterback, certainly at age 23 in the NFL ever, than what we've seen from Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the man seems mature beyond his years. If you're heading up a billion-dollar organization, looking at a kid going, really, we're going to entrust in him to make some pretty significant decisions here, I'd say you could do a lot worse than a guy like Trevor Lawrence.
That is true. And as we continue to say last year, he was the adult in the room. You wish he was talking in more than even Urban Meyer. And I think that's translated now into this confidence. I'm the guy that I was brought here to be because of the successes now. Now I don't have to worry about all that stuff. Let's just go. Let's move forward. And I think it showed in the tunnel at Kansas City. I think it showed after the Detroit loss, him on the podium. I think there are moments now, poignant moments of leadership from Trevor Lawrence that, hey, let's go, boys. It's time to go win a Super Bowl here in Jacksonville. And the other big part of this for Trevor is I think he loves being in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
He has put his arms around the city, the fan base, and being the guy to fix it.
He was spotted at Lynch's at the beaches the other night. He loves being out around town.
Well, that's what in the offseason. You'll see him at local restaurants. There's no doubt about that. Let's take a break. String Sports Brewery. Doug Pederson will be here with us tonight, 7 o'clock, Jaguars All Access. Hope you can come by. If not, you can watch on Fox 30. But we're not done talking about Doug. And we have Clay Harbor on deck at 4 o'clock to put a bow on this 2022 season. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-249-2509. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-249-2509 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-249-2509 to see if you qualify. That's 800-249-2509.
Start the new year off with worry-free water. Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family, like they've done for my family for over 5 years. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment. Your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Ready for a helpful tip? If you've got to drive it, rent it with Rent a Toyota at Arlington Toyota. Whether it's a car for a business trip, an SUV for an outdoor adventure, or a spacious minivan for that family vacation with all the stuff. If you've got to drive it, rent it with Rent a Toyota at Arlington Toyota. Rent a Toyota at Arlington is the best way to try it before you buy it. You can even rent 2023 models. And Arlington's competitive rental rates will put you behind the wheel with ease. Reserve your rental online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
According to McKinsey & Company, Hispanics are the fastest growing minority, and they have the highest rate of entrepreneurship of any race. Their businesses have grown by 12% over the past 5 years, compared to 5% of their non-Hispanic counterparts. The First Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce invites all business professionals to participate in our education, networking, and community outreach programs. Become a member at fchcc.com. Our chamber is your chamber.
Did you know that nearly 7 out of 10 consumers begin their search for a new product on Amazon? Amazon has over 300 million active users. Are you interested in growing your business with the help of Amazon data? On January 31st, CMG is hosting a Grow Your Business seminar. Just a few spaces remain, so call now to reserve your seat. 904-245-8784. Learn how Amazon's data can help your business. 904-245-8784. Register for the January 31st Amazon seminar today. 904-245-8784. I
always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
The Hoop Collective Podcast.
I'm at our ESPN LA studios. You may remember that Bev did a couple of days of work for ESPN last year.
No, I remember. I was on with him.
He left a gorgeous Dolce & Gabbana suit here that is just spectacular.
You should wear it on TV today, Brian.
I do not believe it will fit me, only because the arms are too long. You're across the street. Come over and get it. It's got to be at least a $7,000 suit.
The Hoop Collective Podcast. Listen on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, or follow me on Twitter at BrentASJacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN690.
And welcome back to the Brent and Friends radio show, ESPN 690. My name is Aaron Schachter. With me, of course, Brent Martineau, live at Strings Brewery. It's a hard word to say. Kasey Kurtz, Brewery, behind the glass. And in spirits, you guys hanging in the studio with us.
My mom's like, where are you doing the show from? She called me on the way. I was like, String Sports Brewery. She's like, that's a lot. It's a lot to say.
It is a lot to say.
It all the time, but
you should tell her our job as a broadcaster is not easy, Brent. It requires dexterity of the tongue.
My mom said, I tweeted out her little buddy Raul, who she teaches, she's a big Jags fan up in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And said, poor Raul was in tears on Saturday night when the Jags lost. That'll happen when you're like 7 years old now.
Yeah, man.
There might have been grown men in tears on
I'm pretty sure
Saturday
Kasey was in tears on Saturday night.
I was upset.
All right, take us where we want to go.
Well, I do have one more cut I want to play from the Doug presser because it was asked by our very own Bert Martineau. But you did ask what I thought was a pretty cool question. And it's basically this, Doug. You've been to the top of the mountain. You've seen the promised land. You've won the Super Bowl. Does winning the Super Bowl make it harder to feel accomplished or appreciate what's gone on in a season where maybe you exit the playoffs earlier than the Super Bowl? Cut 7, Case.
I think for us this season, I think there is a sense of accomplishment for, everything this team has gone through over the last year and a half. To go from, one of the worst teams record-wise a year ago to winning a playoff game this year, there is a sense of accomplishment, and it's just a credit to every guy in there right now. They all had a belief that we could accomplish our goals, and they never wavered from that. And it's a credit to them to kind of sticking to it. And, it is something to really build upon, with the accomplishments that we did this year.
I think it's a cool thing to hear Doug say, and I appreciate his genuine nature. This is what he's all about, right? This authenticity, this genuine. Most people can't answer that question like that. You're not allowed to in sports.
Yeah, you're not really allowed to.
Right? You have to say, oh, no, it's a failure. We didn't get to the Super Bowl. That's what we play for.
Yeah.
But come on, we all know the reality of it is. And Doug didn't try to trick us there.
He's a genuine dude.
He knows the reality. The reality is, hell yeah, we accomplished a lot.
A lot.
Don't you? Like, if I was... How would Doug be like, hey, Brent, don't you think we accomplished a lot? And I would have been like, hell yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Jacksonville. Nice job, Doug. High five.
Yeah, you crush
I'll buy
a
beer here.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, thanks for making it happy. Absolutely, they accomplished a lot. And what did we say? And we all know. They advanced a year in the progression in the second half of the season. They won the AFC South title. They made the playoffs. That was supposed to be next year.
Yep.
On any expectation list. And so, heck yeah, they accomplished a lot.
Yeah, agree. And so in the hindsight of the 2022 season, we're doing a lot of evaluating, right? We're looking at Trevor, evaluating his progression. We're looking at the offense, the defense for sure. Guys like Mike Caldwell, we're evaluating their performance. But, some of the people that don't really get evaluated at the end of the season are your ilk. Brent, it's the reporters that are in the room at the podium at the press conferences asking the questions. So I did hear 2 of your questions from this press conference. I pulled those questions so we could evaluate your work Kasey, let's go to the first question, which we just played the cut from. This would be Brent's cut 1.
You've been to the mountaintop, obviously, in this league. Can you feel accomplished without getting there?
Uh-oh. I heard the word feel. I heard the word feel. Someone get Daniel on the phone. You're not allowed to ask people how they feel, Brent.
I didn't say how you felt. Can you feel accomplished and how do you feel are two different things.
Kasey, can we get a judgment on this one?
Feels like a field question, Brent.
Feels like a field question.
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Well, maybe he does better in his second question.
Both of you guys have said that was a good question already and had feel in it. Kasey said it Monday when we came back, and you said it today.
It can be a good question, but
also,
it gave me all the feels.
We were lying to make you feel better. But that's not the only question you asked, Brent. Let's pull this up. Maybe you did better on the second question, Case.
You feel
more
loved here in Jacksonville right now than even Philly when
second
you won the
word, dog.
Oh, no. The second word, Brent?
Second one.
It's like throwing a Hail Mary in the 13th minute of the first quarter. What are you doing, buddy?
I got to now have to go back to my interviews. Go back to my interviews and see if I do this all the time.
Oh, man.
I need some self-analysis, some off-season scouting.
What I would really like to do, and I don't know if you'll agree to this, but keep an open mind. I would like to get one of those shock collars and then keep me on the phone during the presser. If I hear you say the word feel, I'll go ahead and buzz you a little bit.
Yeah, then I'll say, oh, bleep.
Might get a better response.
I have that cut, too. I just can't play it on the radio. But we do have it. It does exist.
I almost said it just to see how much I could trust you right there.
I need.
The answer in my head was don't trust him. Trust nobody.
Don't do it. No.
Listen, it's. I mean, I can't reach that button. You know what I mean?
Kasey, could I have the "You Suck, Brent" as a ringtone? Is that possible? Can we do that?
Suck, Brent.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
I got a lot of good Brent ringtones, but don't have your phone ring around children, or else they'll be like, you can't say that word. Be like, yeah, oh no, you can't.
My favorite thing is after something happens, like I'm recording spots, and I'll say, and I can see Kasey feverishly cutting it up to say.
Just editing.
It's like, hey, why can't we get a promo at this feverish rate?
Nope. This is much better.
Nope.
Unless, of course, we could do 30 seconds of "You Suck, Brent," and then just throw it on loop.
Yeah. Want to go to break with it?
Might as well.
Suck, Brent.
How quick can you recue that thing, like nonstop?
Suck, Brent.
All the time, buddy. Let's go to break.
Clay Harbor up next on ESPN690.
Suck, Brent.
Are you a real estate investor or have considered investing and want to know where you can put your money that offers solid returns and protects against market volatility? It's Rich Jones. I want to introduce you to DLP Capital, CEO and founder Don Wenner.
For more than a decade, DLP Capital has delighted our investors with consistent double-digit returns. Through the smart, conservative real estate investment strategy our company is built on, we have been able to achieve this with monthly distributions and tax shelters so our investors can keep more of their returns.
Dial *invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Hey folks, now that the kids and grandkids have gone home and the decorations are coming down, I can see that it's time to get my carpets and sofas cleaned. That's where Zero Res comes in. Zero Res can clean the carpets, the sofa, the chairs, the area rugs, and even the tile and grout. Google Zero Res and see what your neighbors are saying with over 5,000 5-star customer reviews. Right now, get 20% off carpet cleaning and 20% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
If you're a new parent, your baby means the world to you. But sadly, an average of 17 Northeast Florida families lose their babies to sleep-related deaths each year. Please make sure your baby always sleeps alone and on their back in a separate and safe sleep environment, like a crib, pack and play, or bassinet. Also, keep their sleep space free of covers, pillows, toys, and bumper pads. Learn more at wolfsandchildrens.com/safe sleep. That's wolfsandchildrens.com/safe sleep.
Fields Auto Group is a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and buying or leasing a luxury car on the First Coast is easy with Fields Auto Group, Jacksonville's luxury auto group. Lexus of Jacksonville and Orange Park, Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, Orange Park, Jaguar Land Rover Jacksonville, Porsche Jacksonville, and where my wife leases her car from Fields Cadillac Jacksonville and St. Augustine. If the luxury car you want isn't in stock, no problem. Fields Auto Group will order it and at a fair price. So stop by a Fields store today and see what world-class service really means. FieldsAuto.com.
Shinedown, the Revolution's live tour. Friday, April 14th, VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. With special guest, 3 Days Grace. And From Ashes to New. On sale Friday, January 27th at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Shinedown Live.
Did you know that you have the power to positively impact a local child's life? It's as easy as donating to Daniel, Florida's oldest child service agency. Daniel provides counseling to abused children. Daniel helps homeless teens find shelter and learn to live independently. Daniel connects kids with foster families and strengthens at-risk families so they can stay together. They've done all this and more for 135 years. Please become a part of improving the lives of local children and families by donating at danielkids.org today.
Attention Dish customers. Dish Network dropped WFOX Fox 30, depriving you of your favorite programs. That means no more football playoffs this weekend or leading up to the big game in February. Call Dish now at 1-800-333-3474 and tell them to put WFOX Fox 30 back on the air. Don't let Dish keep you from the important news, weather, sports, and entertainment programming you love. Call Dish now at 1-800-333-3474 and then switch to another TV provider.
Quarterback Patrick Mahomes put to rest any doubt regarding his status for Sunday's AFC Championship game versus the Bengals. He said he's ready to go. Also said he's continued to get treatment on his high ankle sprain and that the ankle has progressed. He took part in the morning walkthrough and today's practice. With an injured Mahomes, there is one player in particular key for the Chiefs' offense on Sunday, explains ESPN's Marcus Spears.
Outside of the offensive line, which is obvious, is Isaiah Pacheco, their running back. Listen, this is about the run game for Andy Reid. Isaiah Pacheco with 4.34, almost 4.2 speed. We saw that burst last week in the game against Jacksonville. He can be the difference maker, not only to give them a running game, but to also keep pressure off of Patrick Mahomes.
NBA ESPN's Dave McMenamin reporting the Lakers set to welcome back Anthony Davis from a foot injury against the Spurs. Barring any setback during his pregame warm-up tonight, AD has been out since the middle of December. Warriors center James Wiseman sidelined the last 11 games with an ankle sprain, likely returns tonight against the Grizzlies, 10 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN690, a Cox Media Group station.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year two pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! But what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
Hey, 4 o'clock hour we go here on ESPN 690. We're live at String Sports Brewery. Doug Pederson joins us tonight on Jaguars All Access, 7 o'clock. You can watch it on Fox 30. Love you to come out and test my theory. Will this be a bigger crowd or a smaller crowd than Trevor Lawrence on December the 1st, where it was packed?
Do you have a count for what the Trevor show was? Do you know how many people it was?
I don't. It'll be more of a feel thing.
You like one of those baseball clickers.
Yeah.
Like you're counting pitches, one person, two person.
Yeah. I like that. Like last week's show, really the last 4 or 5 weeks when we were at Sneakers doing the Monday night show here, like they are really good crowds. Like when they win, people are thirsty for it, but you do have to win. And there's a big difference when you win and people get excited and want to come out and see the guys. And the shows were so much fun. The energy's so real. Last week's show was so fun with the specialists. Logan Cook and Ross Matisic and Riley Patterson. Josh Allen there, of course, as well. Just had a blast. And the crowd was terrific. Like, they loved it. I think they love being around those guys. Like, they're not the biggest names on the team, but they loved it. And so Trevor was different because it's Trevor. And no surprise there was a big crowd.
Like a full-on celebrity, yeah.
I asked this question like a few weeks back, like because we started planning, hey, when the season's over, you think we could get Doug on? And so when we started those conversations, I started to wonder to myself and even talk out loud to some folks. I wonder if it'll be a bigger crowd than even Trevor. That's how much people love Doug right now. And that has not wavered at all. They still love him even after the loss on Saturday. I just wonder if now people have kind of shut down football season a little bit, so maybe we won't get as big a crowd because the momentum has stopped with the football team. But it'll be interesting to see, and I know we'll have a good crowd. It's different. We used to be at Mellow Mushroom for Jaguars All Access. It was a small venue, and so we would actually get people showing up like at 2:30 in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon in that 2017 season for a 7 o'clock show.
That's cool.
Because you just didn't have a spot. Well, this Strings is bigger. Strings, you go outside. I mean, it goes all the way down. It's just a bigger venue.
You guys still pack it out, though.
Oh, we pack it out, but it looks a little different. And so it's from just a numbers standpoint. And also, some of them, I'm like, okay, how early are people getting here? Well, at Strings, you don't really need to get here probably until 4, 4:30, 5 o'clock to save a seat, depending on where you want to be. So it'll be interesting to watch. Right now, we know this guy won't be here, but he joins us on ESPN 690. And that is Clay Harbor each and every Wednesday, 4 o'clock during the season. And now we put a bow, the finality of the 2022 season, in the books for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Coach of the Year candidate Doug Pederson going to be on the show. There's few people more popular than Doug Pederson in Jacksonville right now, Clay Harbor.
Yeah, I would say so. Honestly, I think that's probably only one, and that's, Trevor Lawrence. So, I mean, Doug's done an amazing job turning this franchise around, going from the league worst for 2 straight years and then getting them to the playoffs and getting the team a playoff win. It's been amazing what he's done, and winning that award from the Pro Football Writers as the AFC Coach of the Year was well-deserved with that turnaround and how he's coached these guys to have career years and getting the best out of his players. Obviously, he had a lot of help in free agency, but these guys all had career years. He got the best out of them, and I think that's a very deserving honor. And then obviously he's a finalist for the NFL Coach of the Year award, which I think he should have serious consideration for. And he has my vote, even though I'm not one of the voters. But if I did have a vote, I'm voting for Doug Pederson.
So, Clay, let me ask you, man, if it was Doug Marrone and no Urban Meyer last year, and then Doug Pederson comes in this year and has this success, do you think the reaction inside the locker room is the same from the team? Because it does feel like these guys coalesced around Doug and used last year as this big motivation to prove everyone wrong, to feel better about themselves. I just kind of wonder what would have been the effect if it was just a regular ho-hum bad Jaguars year last year and not the dumpster fire that it was.
I think that did add to it because they realize how bad things can be if you're in a system like that and you really want to fight to protect a good system and a good culture and a culture that you enjoy to be around. It adds another element to it. You want to play better, harder, do everything you can to protect that culture. Because listen, you were in a reign of terror last year with our guy Urban Meyer. So you want to do everything you can to protect that Doug Pederson culture where all the players, they can play more free. It's more of an uplifting environment and not a harsh environment that you're kind of nervous to play. You don't want to mess up, and that's tough, man. When you're playing like that, it's not good for anybody.
I think, by the way, what Clay just said there, as he's saying it, I'm thinking about our line of work or your line of work in a business, right? Think about your best years at a place that, money wasn't tight and they were spending and they were investing or, just things were good. And, Aaron, you know this about being in the business. I mean, in our world, it's really changed. And you also experienced not so good. Like I know on the TV side, when I first got here, it was like, what in the world? And then we built it up and a lot of resources and, hey, things get a little bit tighter.
Did you have a little regret when you first took the job, Brent?
Yeah, a little bit. And so
what did I do?
And so, but then you see it climb a little bit in our world.
Sure,
and then also like you hit recessions where things get a little bit tighter and you're not spending.
Ebbs and flows.
But you do kind of want to Clay's point, you want to wrap your arms around and just keep up the good times or remember the good times or don't let it fall out so you can hopefully get back to the good times. Like you never want to hit that rock bottom.
This is why I don't understand why you poo-poo on Sundays on Monday all the time or the bagel stuff. It's like, come on, let's wrap our arms around it. Let's go.
That's just because that Whipped cream I keep stealing.
Yeah, man, it's funded all of your whipped cream all year.
It's whipped cream on what?
Whipped cream Wednesdays. Let's go.
Clay Harbor, how hard – this team is super tight, man. We saw the emotion in the locker room on Saturday. It's different. I've covered a lot of locker rooms. It doesn't mean locker rooms hate each other, but this was different. This was part of the reason they had success. How hard is this going to be to duplicate? As in Evan Ingram's word, like, you won't have this DNA again of a locker room. It might have been a once-in-a-lifetime locker room. They might not be able to duplicate it. They just have to try to come close to it, right?
Yeah, I've been on obviously the same team after a year, and it's always different. It's never the same, no matter how much you want to keep the same guys, the same players, and have that same chemistry, that same togetherness. It's just never going to happen. From one year to the next, no matter what you do, there's always going to be some players that come and some players that go. And that's tough as a player in the league because you become attached to certain guys, your friends, a guy you like playing against, a guy in practice, a guy you like playing with, during the week. And it's never going to be that way again. You can obviously keep it close to that, bring back some major pieces on the field, some major guys that helped out the team. And obviously in the Jaguars case, that's Smoot, Jawan Taylor, Evan Ingram, Marvin Jones, Arden Key, guys that are up for big contracts. But it's never going to be the same again. And it's hard to do because a lot of times in NFL, I'm probably 50-50 where I've had teams where I thought, like, wow, like this team is really together. And the other side, I thought, okay, this team doesn't really, gel in the locker room. But on the flip side of that, I didn't really see a correlation between a team that was together and really enjoyed each other in, say, the personal space as to a team that was successful on the field. Just crazy enough. Sometimes there's guys that can't stand each other in the locker room. They can't stand each other, Monday through Saturday during the work week, but on Sunday they play together like nothing else. Like it's crazy how tight they are on the field and off field. They can't stand each other. So honestly, in my opinion, I don't see the correlation of wins and losses, but that is something that's special when you do have a team that's a winning team that is together in the locker room. It just adds a whole nother notch to it and helps you to enjoy it just so much more.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I kind of feel like, let me ask it this way. Doug Pederson and Trevor Lawrence, they're now married together here. Is it going to be like New England where Belichick and Brady set the culture? Now, it wasn't always a fun culture to be a part of, but they set the culture, and you knew it didn't matter if you brought Randy Moss in. It didn't matter if they brought Clay Harbor in. It didn't matter who they brought in or out. They knew what to expect. People knew what to expect. See, Clay, you know this because you played here. We didn't know that. We don't have that here in Jacksonville. Like, you didn't know what you were going to get year to year. It was constant change. Actually, it was a knock even going back to the Jack Del Rio days that Del Rio was very inconsistent with his approach. So you kind of, were they going to go night training camp practices, 2-a-day practices? Was it going to be a hard camp, a light camp? Nobody really knew. It always changed. Are we about to experience in Jacksonville when you sign as a free agent, when you're picked up as a draft pick, you know when you walk in the building, this is what Doug Pederson and Trevor Lawrence's culture feels like?
Absolutely. When you got a quarterback that's young, like Trevor, and he's married to this obviously head coach that we think is going to be here for a long time, and obviously we saw the success they were able to have this year. But yeah, they set the culture. The quarterback and the head coach, they're the top two people that determine this culture. The head coach sets it. The quarterback keeps all the players accountable behind the scenes, in the locker room, and kind of is a lesser version of that head coach. And you can see the relationship that Trevor and Doug have. It's special. And that culture will start with them, and it's going to keep them. And I see something similar to what you're saying with that New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs, Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid. You know what you're getting over there. They just got rid of Tyreek Hill, who's arguably a top 3 receiver in the NFL. Guess what? They brought more guys in. They're running the same stuff. They're working hard. They're running the same off. You get that same culture, that same feel coming out of Kansas City. And after getting rid of that kind of a playmaker, because they have that culture in place, you know what you're getting from these guys. They're able to get back to the AFC Championship game for the 5th straight year. And that's what I think Doug's going to bring. Consistent culture where you can plug guys in and out. And obviously you can't keep everybody, especially after a year where you spent $100 million in free agency. but they have that culture in place. Now you can plug and play and get back to the playoffs and win the division now with a different cast of characters.
Calais, you mentioned that it's probably never going to be the same again for that team, roster specifically inside the locker room, the guys who are in there. But if you had to prioritize these three things in terms of what the Jaguars should really be focusing on, let me hear what you would prioritize. Re-signing Evan Ingram, building out / reconstructing the offensive line, or building out / reconstructing the backfield. What are your priorities there on the offense?
You know, I'm a tight end, so I'm going to say bring back Evan Ingram. I mean, if you look at the teams that have tight ends left or teams that are left in the playoffs, Travis Kelce, best tight end in the league. Dallas Goedert, top 5 tight end. Then you got, Hayden Hurst is, he's okay. He's nothing crazy. In San Francisco, you got George Kittle. These are 3 of the top 5 tight ends, in my opinion. Tight ends matter. It's an important position. You can catch passes over the middle. You can protect. You can run block. You have a lot of say in how a game goes. So I say you bring back Evan Ingram. And this guy down the stretch was amazing. He did a lot of good things. Obviously, Trevor wants him back. And I saw Balky did say today that he wants Evan back and he thinks Evan wants to be there, which is a good sign. I think with Jawan Taylor, you want to bring him back. He does a good job. But I think you got a little bit of Jawan Taylor insurance with Walker Little. And with Walker Little and Cam Robinson coming back.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's a very good point that you just brought up about, and I was going to ask you a little later about the playoffs that are remaining, the 4 teams, but that's an excellent point. And Hayden Hurst has actually been big in the playoffs, caught a touchdown the other day, but those other 3 guys are like legitimate tight end threats and weapons. Well, guess what? Evan Ingram was that. And so I don't know how you don't look at the other things that are in common. I brought this up, I think, on Monday, that are in common about this postseason. The offensive lines have played spectacular. Now, nobody would say Cincinnati's offensive line is like the best offensive line. They played unbelievable against the Buffalo Bills. And so the offensive line play was tremendous. The quarterbacks have all been in the same system. Now, Purdy hasn't been in the system, but the same system has been run in San Francisco for years now. And so continuity, offensive line strength, and I think you just pointed out another one, the tight end position. Common threads here in the postseason, which should register with Balky and Pederson to say, we got to get this done. Like, we have to get it done to keep Evan Ingram here in Jacksonville. There are not enough other options that you can find this good a tight end play in the National Football League. And in some categories, Evan Ingram was one of the best in the league this year. Yards after catch and some other metrics, and especially the last 2 months of the season. So I think it's a fantastic point about, okay, where's the league going? What do you have versus what other people don't have? And the Jags have to make sure they keep what they do have in that sense. And I'm going to put you on the spot, Clay. You're Evan Ingram, or at least you're Evan Ingram's agent. At the very least, the guy who's played, and now you've turned into an agent of all the other things. You were really not going to business school. You were going to law school, and you were lying to us the whole time at Indiana. And so now, what are you saying to Ingram? The money to be made out there is probably somewhere between, I don't know, $13, $14 million a year, I would think, very close to the Hunter Henrys and Jonnu Smiths and those kind of deals. I think Kittle's up around, what did we say the other day, guys, like $15 million a year for Kittle when he signed his new deal?
Kittle's annual value is 15, yeah.
Yeah, 15. So, like, what are you doing if you're Ingram? And what, in his camp, what are they talking about? Yes, money matters. Absolutely it matters. But how much on the priority list for him is Doug Pederson and is Trevor Lawrence and the fit here in Jacksonville? Like, they're 2 different things. One's money and business and livelihood and for your rest of your life. The other one is kind of legacy and comfort and where I want my feet to be. How do you balance those couple of things?
It's tough. You got to ask him what his priorities are. Does he want to stay in Jacksonville and, build something here with this team and really a comeback type situation for him this year? Or do you want to go and test the market and your livelihood, your money here, set up your family with this generational income? I think either way he's going to get the generational money and he's going to get paid. But I don't think the most he's going to get paid is going to be from the Jaguars. They just don't have the opportunity to outbid people like they did last year. I think he wants to be here. So if he could take a couple million a year less, I think the Jaguars could get something done.
Less than what the good tight ends are getting, or less than what he's already getting?
less than what the good tight ends are getting. I mean, he's going to get a pay increase. He's earned that.
Definitely.
And he knows that. The Jags know that. And I think the whole league knows that. And they've seen what he's been able to do. For me, like coming in, it's funny how reputation from New York Jets, you kind of hear about Evan Ingram. I watch him here, there. You hear the guy doesn't have good hands. He's not a great blocker, doesn't give that much effort. And he's got a bad edge. He comes in here, this guy catches everything. He plays hard, he blocks hard. Everybody loves him, and he's a great fit in this system. So if I was him, I would do what I could to stay here and stay in this system. And that's me because I've experienced that going from system to system, and I know it's not always the same in another place. So I think they could get a discount on Ingram. They're obviously going to have to pay him. I don't think you pay him Kittle or even Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith was a terrible contract in my opinion.
Jonnu Smith, average annual value at 12.5. You think he gets less than that?
Yeah.
I think he gets more than that.
I think around there. I mean, if the Jags want to keep him, I mean, you got to take a little bit of a pay cut because they don't have the funds. Yeah. And I'm the biggest Evan Ingram guy around. I think they need to bring him back. And I tweeted this out today. I said in the last 7 games in playoffs, Evan Ingram averaged 6 receptions, 72 yards, and almost 12 yards per catch, and he also scored 3 touchdowns. That's a player that's coming up big down the stretch. You saw it in the biggest games. He was making plays. He's not a guy that's making plays when you're out of games or you're winning games in the fourth quarter. He's making plays in the heat of games. Trevor's looking for him. He's got great run after catch. He can get down the middle of the field, and he tries hard when he blocks. He's not the greatest inline blocker, but on the edges, he works great. He's a perfect fit for this offense. So he's valuable in Jacksonville. And I think you're going to have to up his annual pay to at least 12 a year to get there, 13. But, I mean, he might even get up to 14 per year offers from someone.
Yeah, just to put it in context, Brent, right before you go with your question, if you believe Evan Ingram, if you believe the case could be made for Evan Ingram to be tight end 6 or 7 in the league, you're talking about guys like Kittle, Kasey, Goddard, Andrews, and maybe even Darren Waller in front of him. Then you're talking about those guys making $14 million and up. If you're talking about Evan maybe doing a little deal with Jacksonville to stay here, but also getting a raise, David Njoku is at 13.6, about to get a raise. He's going to become a free agent. Dawson Knox at 13, and Jonnu Smith at 12.5. That's probably the neighborhood you're talking about.
Yeah,
Brent.
I mean, you're talking somewhere between 13's a minimum. I mean, if you mention, I think it's right around the Dawson Knox at the very least. So 13, 14 million is probably where it's going to be at. I want to ask you 3 things because, again, you're a tight end, man. You've played in the league. Like, you know the business side of it, and you don't know what he's thinking, but you've learned from what you thought and all these other things. Yeah. What matters more, annual money per year or guaranteed money up front for you?
The guaranteed money. The guaranteed money is what matters, and none of that other stuff is a thing. If it's not guaranteed, you can be released, you can be whatever. So I think there's a way the Jags can maybe, put a lot of this into a signing bonus. And Balky was heard to say, I think he was quoted as saying that cap matters obviously, but cash matters more than cap. And Shad Khan's a guy that's been willing to pay. And if they can come up with some sort of deal, cap and other things to get Evan Ingram paid, and keep that cap number low, then they're going to have to do it because he's a big piece of this offense. And this is why in these windows, your quarterback, if Trevor Lawrence is not on a rookie contract, we're not even having this conversation.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram's gone. So this is why it's so important with these years when you got the quarterback on the rookie deal to really make some hay here and get this team filled out because. Once Trevor starts getting paid, they're not even going to have this opportunity because, Trevor's a generational talent, and he's going to want that generational money.
All right, more about the contract negotiations then. Do you, would you, again, you put yourself in his position where you're at. This is a golden opportunity. You bet on yourself. Yeah. You already made some money, but, hey, you won, so it's time to win. What's I love it in Jacksonville. I want to stay in Jacksonville. Yeah. This is the best place. That's not a lie. That's not just emotion. That's true. Yeah. Pederson, he's awesome. Trevor, he's awesome. Look what we've built. It matters to me to be here, but that's worth what? $1.5 million less than maybe somebody else would give me in Florida where there's no taxes. Does that come into play? What do you wrestle with in your mind? Is it a number that you put at that say, hey, listen, $12 million's a lot of money. I can live with that, even though it's not 14. Like, is that how it goes?
Honestly, for me, and I think I'm different than a lot of guys, I think, I could reason into a situation like that once my contract reached a certain level. Is the $12 million versus the $14 million going to be that much different? Okay, I'm in Florida, the state tax, what does that account for? You get a little bit of benefits there, real estate benefits, you're buying a house. Maybe you look at it that way financially to, kind of make your choice make more sense to you in that way. But a lot of guys, it's a business, and they play this for a business, and that's what it is. You look at Lamar Jackson, you look at guys, why is LeBron James still taking max contracts when only 1/4 of his money is made from his actual contract? I mean, there's so many instances like that where cash is king. What can you pay me? I want to be paid. I want to be compensated the most that I can get. And I think Evan Ingram has stated he loves it here. He wants to stay here. But that could mean, like, hey, if these guys give me a contract that's the same as someone else, I'm here. But if someone else gives me more money, I'm sorry, I got to take the more money. For me personally, if I loved it in Jacksonville, I would take less to stay there. And, I mean, I don't think I'm most guys, though, but that's what it would mean to me as a former tight end. But to a lot of guys, I think the majority of guys, it means, hey, if you guys pay me the same and make this the same as the top bidder, I will stay here because I want to stay here, not that I will take a pay cut to stay with you, because these guys still want to be paid.
Yeah. So I got two other quick things on this front while I got you. How much does the agent play a role? Because the agent's going to push you to make as much money as you possibly can make, right?
Absolutely.
So they play a big role in it. And do you have to decide to listen, or listen, I get your role. You want me to make as much money so you can make 5% or whatever too, but I still want to be. I don't care about it. 12, 14, whatever. It's all the same to me.
Yeah. But yeah, your agent's going to be the guy that's pushing. He wants the most money. He wants the biggest contract. He wants the biggest contract because he wants to be able to show other players, hey, look what I got, Evan Ingram. Come with me. I can do the same for you. And also he wants to do the higher number because he gets a percentage of that. He's going to push for the highest number possible. That's all those guys do. That is their whole job, to get the most money you can. Nothing else matters. I don't care which place you like better. But it comes down to Evan Ingram. The agent works for him. He's going to have to decide, hey, I don't care. Get the most we can in Jacksonville. See what they're willing to give me, how close they can come to my mark, because I want to stay here. So your job right now, I'm telling you, get the most you can. I want to stay in Jacksonville.
It must be nice to know that you're about to make like $30-something million.
Brent, it's no big deal. Trust me, I've been there.
And one last one, and sorry to keep on you for this, but you said to us, I think it was like a month and a half ago, we're having this conversation. You went to New England, and you said, I wish I had stayed in Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
So, like, what was the context of that? And maybe that is a lesson for even a guy like Ingram, that you can make a bad football decision
the grass isn't
while you're
always
making
greener.
a good business decision.
All right, I'll give you guys the full rundown of my decision, and I'll tell you this straight up: the numbers were not near as big as Ingram's numbers are.
I get it.
So the Jaguars, I signed a 2-year deal to stay in Jacksonville after my first year there, a 2-year deal for $3.5 million, right? So I play out that deal, and I'm a free agent again. They had just brought in Julius. I have a great reputation on the team. I'm a guy that gets there early. I leave late. I'm always in the weight room. The scouts love me. The front office, so the coaches love me. This is my place. I have a great relationship with Julius Thomas, Mercedes Lewis, my best friends on the team. The Jags tell me they're giving me a raise. Okay, I'm thinking maybe another 2-year deal, 3-year deal, making $2 or $3 million a year, hopefully. So the deal comes out, and they offer me the same exact deal. It was 2 years, $3.5 million. So I'm kind of ticked off because they're not giving me a guarantee either. And New England comes around, and a couple other teams, but New England was the one that interests me, and New England offered me the same exact deal. We'll give you 2 years, $3.5 million. So I have the same deal in Jacksonville and the same deal in New England. But I'm like, tell them, hey, like, give me a guarantee for the first year. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't guarantee it. Wouldn't give me, the raise that they had promised me. So I'm kind of doing this with my heart and not my head.
Yeah, you're getting pissed off.
Yeah, he was annoyed. Yeah.
And I go, screw it. I'm going to go play New England. I'm going to win a Super Bowl. Me and Gronk are going to have a heck of a year, and and stick it kind of to the Jaguars, and they don't want to pay me. When they find out that I'm about to sign in New England, now they come back and say, okay, we'll guarantee your contract.
Oh.
I'm like, it's too late. The writing's already on the wall. I already gave these guys my verbal commitment. I'm coming to New England. Greg Olson, our old offensive coordinator, called me, Clay, they told me you were coming back. We have plays in here. We got new plays for you. Doug Marrone. Should have listened to him. I get a call on my phone. It's Doug Marrone. We talk for a half hour. He tells me about on his career. He made a play to go to a better team, ended up being the worst decision of his life. He still regrets it because he's like, listen, you got a great reputation here. Our special teams coach, our offensive coordinator loves you. The head coach loves you. Why leave that situation? I don't know what your status is. If you haven't signed yet, stay here in Jacksonville. We all love you here. I don't heed that advice. I still go to New England. In New England, I think I made the right decision. I come in there. They had just signed Martellus Bennett. My agent's like, dude, they drafted A.J. Derby in the 4th round. They signed Martellus Bennett. They got Rob Gronkowski. They have a player, Michael Williams, who was a starter for them last year with Gronk. They got 2 other rookies coming in. He's like, what you're getting yourself into. Like, this is a tough roster to make. So are you sure you want to go? But for me, I just wanted to go and play. Started off great. OTAs, I'm getting the second team reps ahead of Martellus Bennett playing the best football of my life. I get hurt. I pop both my adductors. I have to get surgery in OTAs. I don't come back until the second preseason game. And then I'm not 100%. I fight. I think I'm gone. They're like, if you want to wait, we'll put you on PUP list. I'm like, no, I'm ready to play. And looking back, I should have just went on PUP and made sure I was 100% halfway through the season, get activated. Whatever.
What mentally was going through your mind that made you want to play instead of hit the PUP list?
Sometimes athletes are dumb, man. You're just fighting. I'm watching the film.
Like, what was the fear? Did you have a fear that was like, nah, I got to get on the field, man?
It's in all of us. You don't want to be a guy that's hurt, right? You don't want to be a guy that's hurt. You want to get back. And I always pride myself. I'm putting the extra time in the weight room. I'm putting my extra time in the film room. And I'm just trying to get back. And I'm finally like, hey, I'm ready to play. And they cleared me. And I get back, and I wasn't 100%. I thought I was going to get cut. So I literally had my bags packed on the final cut-down day in New England. A.J. Derby was playing well. Martellus Bennett had solidified himself when I was out. This guy's a weapon. I hadn't been able to compete. And I was just seeing those guys. I got to get back out there. I want to be the second tight end. And it was, looking back at it, it was dumb. You got Gronk playing. Bags are packed. I'm waiting to, we don't find out who gets cut until you guys do. So I'm literally watching on the computer. We go from 75 to 65. We go from 65 to 60. We go from 60 to 55. Man. And I'm like, there's no way they're keeping me. I go, I haven't got a call yet. I'm like, I'm looking at my phone. We go from 55 to 53. I go, no way.
No
we
way.
Kept 4 tight ends and a fullback. And I walked in the door the next day with my key card, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, the thing works. I'm like, is this a joke? I get in there, and I'm like, hey.
Still carrying all your stuff on your back? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was how that went down. And for me, looking back, I regret that decision because Jacksonville was a great place. I had my reputation. I knew what I was going to get. But I got kind of angry because I was told I was getting a raise, and I felt like they didn't value me. Different situation for Evan Ingram, but you can now see how some of these guys work and why some of these things happen.
Wow, great stuff, by the way. Thanks for taking us into that a little. I just don't think people understand how it worked. I'm not sure, quite frankly, I know how it works, and that's a terrific behind-the-scenes look at free agency and what goes through a player's mind and how emotional it can get. And that's something we all can relate to. Now, we're not talking about millions of dollars. We're talking about like a $2 raise here in our business.
Whatever, man. If they promise it, you expect it. When they don't deliver, it's like whatever I can do to make you mad is going to happen now.
That's it. Like, get me out of here. I'm getting out of the business, right? Over $30.
Over nothing.
Right? But, we all felt that way. I think we all have felt that way at some point in our career, no matter what line of work you're in.
Yes.
So great stuff with Clay Harbor. Let's continue it. Brent and Friends on ESPN690 from String Sports Brewery, where Doug Pederson will join us tonight, 7 o'clock on Jaguars All Access. You can watch it on Fox 30. More with Clay right after this.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690. Mostly sunny and nice today. The afternoon high in the upper 60s, dropping to near 55 tonight. And a partly sunny, breezy, and warm Wednesday. Highs tomorrow reach the low 80s. Scattered showers and storms by evening. With your first alert forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Before you buy a diamond anywhere, shop Beard's Diamonds. Right now, American Window Products is offering the newest features in window technology with Ultra Dual Low E glass and insulated vinyl frames with magnet weather stripping on windows for an airtight seal to help reduce your energy usage. All at an affordable price. This exclusive offer is for a limited time, so act now to save big with 12 months, zero interest financing. Schedule a free estimate at AmericanWindowProducts.com. American Window Products, the window professionals.
Financing at time of sale for new orders only.
The holidays are behind us, and that means nothing but open road ahead. So make every mile this new year the best it can be in a new Toyota from Arlington Toyota. Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Tundra, Tacoma. Arlington Toyota's got 400 new Toyotas available and ready for wherever you want to go in 2023. Plus, every new car purchase from Arlington Toyota comes with a lifetime warranty and Arlington's 30-day exchange program. Where will your new Toyota take you in 2023? Find out and shop arlingtontoyota.com today.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjax.com.
Jacksonville is a great place to live, and if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course, the family home. Why put your money in a New York City bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Start the new year off with worry-free water. Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family, like they've done for my family for over 5 years. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment. Your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Ask yourself, how often do you go to the second page for the answer to something you are looking for when searching on Google? I asked 10 people, and 1 out of 10 said rarely, while the other 9 said never. Websites that are stuck on page 2 or farther never get the attention or web traffic they deserve. Cox Media Group can fix that ranking by making sure that your business is the answer to the questions most people are asking. It's Cox Media Group's mission to help make sure that your business is seen as the trusted expert in your field. Head to cmg.com to find out more, and we'll reach out to you with the next steps.
Start the year off stress-free and sell your home with the Mark Spain Real Estate Guaranteed Offer. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry, so you can sell your home stress-free and make the most money. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home and skip the hassle of constant cleaning and costly repairs. When you get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, there are no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Our guaranteed offer keeps you in control. One of our clients, Tanya, said, from start to finish, we had an excellent experience with Mark Spain Real Estate. They informed us of all our options, and when their guaranteed offer came in, we couldn't help but accept it. It exceeded our expectations. I've been in business for nearly 30 years and have served over 44,000 satisfied clients, and I know what matters most: a quick sell and maximum profit. Find out what your guaranteed offer would be. There's no obligation. Call 855-299-SOLD or go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Certain restrictions apply.
You've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. You have to carefully monitor your health for the rest of your life. And you have an increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease.
Cut. Take 2. Action.
You've been diagnosed with a new purpose, to fight for the amazing life you made for yourself. To look that risk of heart disease square in the face and say, no, not me. You've been given a new opportunity to live. Get started at NoDiabetesByHeart.org.
Smoked for hours, served in minutes. Now that sounds like good barbecue, and it is at Willie Jewell's in St. Augustine at Mirabella Crossing. Fast casual dining served up old school barbecue style with a heaping side of Southern hospitality. Need catering? They do it. Third-party delivery? They have it. Need a job? They have openings. Visit WillieJewels.com. Kids eat free on Wednesdays. Best jumbo wings in town and TVs for football season. Visit Willie Jewell's at Mirabella Crossing in St. Augustine. Old school barbecues, smoked for hours, served in minutes at Willie Jewell's.
As parents, we all want to ensure that our children are safe, secure, and healthy starting day one. Please make sure your newborn is sleeping safely. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com/safe sleep for infant safety tips. That's wolfsonchildrens.com/safe sleep.
Fields Auto Group is a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and buying or leasing a luxury car on the First Coast is easy with Fields Auto Group, Jacksonville's luxury auto group. Lexus of Jacksonville and Orange Park, Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, Orange Park, Jaguar Land Rover Jacksonville, Porsche Jacksonville, and where my wife leases her car from Fields Cadillac Jacksonville and St. Augustine. If the luxury car you want isn't in stock, no problem. Fields Auto Group will order it and at a fair price. So stop by a Fields store today and see what world-class service really means. FieldsAuto.com.
Hi, this is Dan Nagel for Energy Seal Foam Insulation, reminding you that summer's coming. Give us a call. Save 30% off our summer rates. Call EnergySealToday.com. We spray attics, subfloors, metal buildings. EnergySealToday.com. 888-306-3626.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690, and you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Hey, listen, this is why we have people like Clay Herber on each and every week. It's not just to hand out final roses and stuff. It's for fantastic stories like the last one. Take us through the Evan Ingram stuff, and we appreciate Clay Herber for doing that. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. Brent Martin, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz, and Clay joined us for another segment. I was thinking this, guys, and I know Aaron has some questions too. Is Evan Ingram like the most coveted free agent to retain for the Jacksonville Jaguars in recent memory?
That's a good question.
Like, I'm trying to think like
so.
Maybe Jan, like Ngakwe's deal, but he wasn't even done. You know, like Ngakwe, I think had another year left.
But he was pretty beloved at the time. It was pretty heartbreaking when he left the franchise.
Yeah, I'm not sure of it. I just kind of was thinking of it during the commercial break.
Yeah,
because I don't remember having these conversations about many players in this respect, where it's like, because Clay brought up a great point. If you missed it earlier. These playoff teams all have tight ends that are difference makers. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars this year, Evan Ingram was a difference maker for Doug Pederson, for Trevor Lawrence, for opposing defenses. And so the value, like if we put it in that context, like there's no doubt he's priority number one, even more than Jawan Taylor if you want to fortify the offensive line. Jawan Taylor is not a difference maker the way Evan Ingram's a difference maker. And so it certainly has a lot of value in bringing back Evan Ingram or finding someone of his caliber to replace, and that is very difficult, Aaron.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. Although you do run into some issues. Obviously, the salary cap issues are well documented, but some of the things that don't get talked about, and I wonder if any of you guys, especially you, Brent, because you talk to these guys all the time, is the character of the guy we're talking about. Like, obviously, Evan Ingram is one of these low-key, you don't really see him as a braggadocious guy. He's really one of these put your head down, go to work kind of guys. But often in sports, you see a guy who cares more about like where they rank on the list of contracts than maybe their situation. A guy like Aaron Rodgers, Alex Rodriguez are notorious for wanting their contract to be at the top of the list. That used to be one of the clauses or caveats in those things. My contract has to be in the top 3. I think Aaron Rodgers has that stipulation. You get a guy like Evan Ingram, and you look, and like he would have the right to ask for that in this offseason in terms of what tight ends are paid. I think that's the next position group to go through this financial explosion. We saw it with the wide receivers last year. You got Darren Waller as your highest annual average value contract at $17 million. Kelsey's damn near a bargain. You know, Kittle is essentially at $15 million, a bargain when you compare it to what he would get if he was a wide receiver with the same skill set. So I guess my question is, do we think it matters? Do you think it matters to Evan Ingram where he is on that list, or do you think he just wants to be comfortable?
That's the thing. I mean, it depends. Like some guys, like I said, like why does LeBron, why does some of these NBA players that they could use that money to win championships if it was really all about championships?
Yep.
Right? You're not getting that much out of that contract as far as percentage of your income. It's not changing your net worth that much, but they still need the max deal. That's what I don't understand. So these guys, they just have it to where in their heads, they got to be getting paid. You know, it's their value, so you can't really judge them for it. But for me, if I'm making that kind of money off endorsements, off of business deals, off of this and that, and yeah, this contract, now I could take half of that where it doesn't take much of a hit in my net worth. I'm going to bring in another superstar.
Yeah.
Give him the max that's not getting the same type of endorsements and stuff that I make. So I think it's different in some aspects, but in football, I think that it's a thing. It's a thing for some guys that have the ego, right? They kind of base it off of a competition. Okay, he got paid this. I want to be paid that. You see that with Lamar Jackson, $130 million guaranteed. Shoot, man, that's a lot of money. You think Lamar Jackson's really worried about his well-being with $130 million? Like, no, he wants to be paid as one of the top quarterbacks because that's what the market says, and he thinks he's better than some of those guys.
Yeah.
So that's why he wants it. It's because he's better. That's what they're getting. So now I want that.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. And I don't think it stops there either. We talked a little bit about the restraints for 2022 in terms of the salary cap, but then you look to 2023. You got Trevor coming off his 3rd year, which is when some of these rookie deals get extended. You're going to see Joe Burrow go through that this offseason. So how much, if anything, are you going to spend extending Trevor Lawrence after the 3rd year if you choose to do that? And, oh, by the way, guys like Josh Allen and Calvin Ridley will be finishing up their 5th year of their rookie deals. Time for those guys to get paid, too. So the aches and pains of this salary cap in 2022, I think, will carry over into the next season as well for 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal, right? I mean, it's in all the money that they're going to have to spend, but they'll clear some out, too. And that's why I think Trent Baalke said, hey, you have to turn into now a draft and develop more than go get free agents because we're going to have to sign our own guys. That 2021 class, to your point, Aaron, is so good that they're going to want to keep a lot of those guys, if not all those guys, at some point down the road.
Yeah.
Which are going to be big contracts. And, you know, that's what happens when you draft well. Look at the Cincinnati Bengals. We talk about this quite a bit. Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. At some point, they're going to have to pay them all. Can they? I mean, throw like a Logan Wilson in there at linebacker. You know, can they pay them all? And I guess the answer is yes, but it becomes very tricky to do so and how you manufacture it and the timing of everything, the timing of when people have good years, the timing of contracts when they run out, the timing of when you can get out of contracts, the timing of when you can use a franchise tag or not. So it becomes tough to keep good players with a salary cap. That's just the bottom line in the NFL. Hey, Clay Harbor, I want to ask you about the playoffs. It looks like Mahomes is good to go. He's practiced today. What do you see with Cincinnati and Kansas City? Cincinnati's got their number, and they've got an injured Mahomes. He's no way going to be 100%. Do you like the Bengals in this one?
You know, I I've been going back and forth on this one. This is the one game where I'm just like, man, I really can't peg it. I think I'm going with the Bengals. The Bengals had 30 first downs. That's the most the Buffalo team's given up since Sean McDermott had been there. And, yeah, their offensive line's banged up, but I don't think Chris Jones is going to get home because Joe Burrow is so quick getting rid of the ball. He averaged 2.5 seconds to get rid of the ball last week. That's the fastest in the entire playoffs. And I just don't think they're going to be able to get there to really affect them. And obviously Buffalo had a bunch of injuries: Von Miller, Micah Hyde, DeMar Hamlin, Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Dean Marlowe, ton of injuries. But the Bengals were able to do it with the run game and the pass game: 242 pass yards, 172 rush yards, 13 first downs on the ground. So I think their balance is going to overcome the Kansas City Chiefs because Pat Mahomes isn't going to be able to work miracles like he usually does because his ankle's jacked up. He can't move. I wouldn't rewatch the Jaguars game today. I thought the Jaguars, I didn't realize during the game how close this game was. If that fumble doesn't happen with Agnew, if Foye Oluokun maybe catches that gift that was put in his hands, if Christian Kirk catches that bomb, maybe they get in the end zone. There was a couple of plays here or there, and the Jags would have had a chance down the stretch to win that game. So I'm going with the Bengals, and it's tough to not pick the Chiefs in Arrowhead. They're going to be loud. Obviously, they got a great team: Travis Kelce, Pat Mahomes, Chris Jones on defense. But I'm going with the Bengals.
Yeah, it's pretty wild what you just said there, that it was a real close game. It was a 2 or 3 play game, and the Jags are playing this weekend up in Cincinnati. That's how close it was, and some of that because of the limited nature of Patrick Mahomes, of course. A lot of people think this is a legacy game for Mahomes. I don't know if I feel that way, but I understand why people are bringing it up. If he loses to Burrow and he can't beat Burrow and the Bengals, and despite all his success, we're still looking 5-6 years into his career as maybe the best quarterback in the game, but only one Super Bowl, Clay.
Yeah.
Is it starting to form his legacy and just how great he really is versus how good he really is, or just a different level of great, if you will?
Andy Reid, too. He's only got one Super Bowl. Andy Reid, after all those conference championship games he's been to, he's got one Super Bowl. Pat Mahomes only got one Super Bowl. This is a big year for them. It is a legacy game, I think. If you can pull this off with the ankle, this one will be one of the most talked about games going back. When you look back at Patrick Mahomes, his career, this guy won with a high ankle sprain against Joe Burrow, one of the best up-and-coming quarterbacks in the league, best team that just sent Josh Allen home. This is a huge game for them. He's got to start winning some Super Bowls. If he wants to be the greatest ever, if he wants to compete with Tom Brady saying, hey, I got 7 rings, you got 1, he's got to start winning some of these. Who knows what the future holds? I don't know. I don't think he can have the longevity Tom Brady had. I don't think anybody can. That's a freak of nature. The fact this guy is 45 years old and still considering playing this next season. So this is a big game for him. Not only him, but Andy Reid, too. Does Andy Reid want to be remembered as one of the greatest coaches in the NFL history? He can't have just one Super Bowl. He's got to win multiple.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. By the way, I think there's no pressure on Burrow at all. He's just playing free and easy. He's 3 years into his career and now a second AFC Championship game. He's already been to the Super Bowl. There's always pressure when you get to this point. I understand it.
I also think people are adding pressure to the mix because of how well he's played against Mahomes and the Chiefs so far.
Yeah, maybe. But what if he falls to 3-1 against the mighty Chiefs and Mahomes?
No, you're not
right?
wrong. You're not wrong. But I do think the expectation is that he wins and the Bengals win, especially with Pat Mahomes with the sprained ankle. If Pat Mahomes was healthy, I'd go, the Chiefs have all the pressure on him coming into this game. I'm not so sure anymore.
Yeah, it does. Listen, I think the Cincinnati Bengals are – I don't know what the line is. I haven't even looked. They should be a favorite to win this game.
Bengals are favored by a point.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think they should be. I think they're the team to beat right now. Especially with an unhealthy Mahomes. Other side, real quick before we let you go. Eagles easy, right? Well, not easy, but Eagles. They're just so.
Yeah, I got the Eagles. Yeah.
I know you have a connection to the Eagles, but the fact that Jalen Hurts check a box for you the other day to be able to convincingly say Eagles.
Yeah, they're running that zone read. They ran 33 zone plays according to ESPN Stats and Info for 221 yards and 2 TDs, the third most of any team since 2011. That, to me, shows, hey, this guy's fine, this guy's healthy. You're running the zone read that effective. That's what makes Jalen Hurts so valuable. Obviously, yeah, he can throw the ball. He's improved there. But the fact this guy can run the zone read better than anybody in football, it's such an effective play because it gives you an extra defender. That defender has to guard the quarterback, and if he doesn't, you're pulling the ball. That's why they were so effective running the ball against the Giants. 4.6 yards before contact they had off of zone read plays in an NFL playoff game. That's unheard of.
Yeah. Bouquet of roses for who? We got to get out of here. One final rose of this 2022 season for the Jags. Who you got?
You know, I'm going to give it back to Doug Pederson, man. I know he got one for the playoff win, but Doug Pederson, excellent year. I love what he's able to do. He's brought this team from 2 years of being the worst in the league to now a division title and the playoff win. Doug Pederson, will you accept this rose? Of course he will. Everybody's happy. Tell him that he won a rose when you see him tonight at the event.
I will. I'll definitely tell him. Clay Harbor, great stuff, man. Appreciate you jumping in. You'll be at the Senior Bowl next week, so we'll get you in next Wednesday as well if you have some time.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right, that is Clay Harbor each and every Wednesday here during the football season on ESPN 690. Football at 5 coming up next, live from String Sports Brewery.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Why have over 2 million people trusted their bath remodels to Bathfitter? When a normal day is anything but normal, we fit your schedule with our unique tub-over-tub process installed in just a day with no demolition. When high quality is the only quality that matters, we fit your standards. We've been remodeling baths for over 35 years, and every bath we install comes with a lifetime warranty. Get the bath you want in a day with quality that lasts a lifetime. Bathfitter, it just fits. Visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code ESPN10 for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code ESPN10. Use code ESPN10 for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Look around you. There's history being made. Has been, will be. Just something about those blue skies, high banks and high speed, all coming together in one perfect race. And it'll be here sooner than you think. The Daytona 500 at Daytona International Speedway, February 19th, 2023. Get your tickets now at Daytona500.com.
Fields Auto Group is a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and buying or leasing a luxury car on the First Coast is easy with Fields Auto Group, Jacksonville's luxury auto group. Lexus of Jacksonville and Orange Park, Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, Orange Park, Jaguar Land Rover Jacksonville, Porsche Jacksonville, and where my wife leases her car from Fields Cadillac Jacksonville and St. Augustine. If the luxury car you want isn't in stock, no problem. Fields Auto Group will order it and at a fair price. So stop by a Fields store today and see what world-class service really means. FieldsAuto.com.
Ready to hit the open road and see America? Island Oaks, located just west of Jacksonville, Florida, is the perfect place to set up camp. With lakeside lots, swimming, fishing, dining, ball courts, live music, events, and new activities daily, there's something for everyone here. Call or text 904-906-6779 or visit islandoaksrv.info for weekly specials. Come solo for lasting memories, or bring the family and friends for a fun-filled vacation. No RV? No problem. Island Oaks now offers lots, equipped with ready-to-stay RVs in a variety of sizes to fit your vacation needs. No matter what you choose, you're sure to have a great time at Island Oaks RV Resort. Book your stay today. Call or text 904-906-6779 or visit islandoaksrv.info for weekly specials.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 85% water, right?
85% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
O'Reilly Auto Parts provides more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also offer free check engine light diagnosis. We can scan your vehicle and provide a list of possible fixes. Find the right parts for you or recommend a great local repair shop. Don't ignore your check engine light. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. 3 words from Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes today put an end to any question about his availability for Sunday's AFC title game against the Bengals. Ready to go. Mahomes has continued to get treatment on his high ankle sprain. He said the ankle has progressed. He did take part in today's practice. Considering he's 0-3 all-time versus his Cincinnati counterpart Joe Burrow, Sunday is a big day for Mahomes, explains our Harry Douglas.
His legacy is already cemented. Now you want to start adding things to it. And when I mean adding things to it, what's on the line for Patrick Mahomes within this ball game? You get another opportunity to go play for a second Super Bowl that you want to add to your resume. You get an opportunity to keep that crown that you now wear, because it's not Joe Burrow's, it is Patrick Mahomes. You get an opportunity to keep that crown.
Harry Douglas of Fitz and Harry. Mahomes, Burrow, Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, Bills QB Josh Allen, and Vikings receiver Justin Jefferson, all finalists for Associated Press 2022 NFL MVP. NBA Anthony Davis in line to return to the Lakers from a foot injury tonight versus the Spurs, reports ESPN's Dave McMenamin.
Coming up Thursday, A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Jamar Chase, and Travis Kelce. I'll tell you which receiver will have the biggest impact on Sunday's game. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN690, a Cox Media Group station.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! Well, what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom Jack! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
Welcome back, everybody. Football at 5 here at String Sports Brewery in Springfield here on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton on the way at 6 o'clock. And then 7 o'clock, Jaguars All Access on Fox 30. Doug Pederson will be here to wrap up our year on Jaguars All Access. Really been a lot of fun here. We've had some fantastic crowds. We've had tremendous guests. And, well, we're going to end up with Trevor Lawrence on the show this year and Doug Pederson over the last couple of months. So I would say that worked out pretty well here at String Sports Brewery. You know, I asked the question earlier when we had Clay Harbor on, and Clay was fantastic. We're going to put that up for you. Well, Aaron will, because he usually does, on YouTube. And you can always go back and listen to the show. Kasey just put up the podcast. We'll have it on YouTube. We'll have it on Twitter, of course, where you can go back and listen. And about 20 minutes into our conversation with Clay, we really started to pepper him about put himself in Ingram's shoes. And some of the stuff was really good from the mindset of a free agent.
He's always good for a good football league story as well.
Yeah, and he put us in his shoes, really, like where he said, I made a bad decision, essentially, in free agency.
Yeah.
And he really gave us the inside scoop on what went on in Jacksonville and how he got to New England. And so it was terrific if you have a chance to go check that out. Let's see. I had asked earlier about Evan Ingram being the most coveted free agent to try to retain that we can remember. And
did you get some feedback on it?
Yeah, that stat boy mentioned A-Rob. I think that's a good one, Allen Robinson. And the Jags lost him to free agency. And they end up signing Marquise Lee instead, remember?
Yes.
So I do remember him being coveted, though. It felt like, all right, let's go. I mean, you went to the AFC Championship game. A-Rob got hurt that year, and now you're going to get him back if you can keep him. And they didn't. And in hindsight,
it worked out.
It kind of worked out.
Like, he was fine, but, he was fine. For the money.
$15 million a year good, right? Or whatever it was.
No.
So, let's see what else. Sir William says, re-sign Taylor, Ingram, and Key. League minimum for a bunch of other guys. Must nail first 2 rounds of draft. Both be starters. Lloyd and Walker need to develop, be much better in year 2. I love how people are just convinced that everybody else is going to just take the league minimum.
Yeah.
Good job. That's an easy negotiation.
Also, must hit home runs in the draft is easier said than done as well.
Absolutely. Dan says you can go way back and say Kevin Hardy and Aaron Beasley, too. Hardy and Beasley never got second contract. Hardy really wasn't the same player. Got injured his last year here. Beasley was missed, in his opinion. So, and that was kind of the context of this. How far back do you have to go?
What about when Mike Pederson left? He was beloved here, too, as a linebacker during the Del Rio years.
Yeah, he was, but I don't think people looked at him and said, man, it really changes your offense or
defense, yeah.
Defense. And should it change your top dollar? Like Mike Pederson wasn't going to get top dollar around the NFL anyway. Ingram, if he hits the market, he's going to get
He'll be
close
a top
to top
five.
dollar.
He'll be a top
right?
5 paid tight end, yes.
And so that's
why I'm looking at
Jan
people.
Was an undrafted free agent. They tagged him, traded him in August after they failed to get a deal done.
Yeah.
He refused to sign the tag. Yeah, I knew it was a little tricky on the Jan thing, but Jan is actually one of the closest guys to the Jag. You got to keep him here. You got to keep him here. You got to keep him here. Like, he felt like that guy who was going to get, by the way, maybe top 5 money at the time. That's why it fell apart, because the Jags didn't want to give him top 5, top 3 kind of money. But Jan, to me, was one. And now you look up, and I'm not sure they're worse off for not having Jan. Or I think they're better off for not paying him what he wanted. But at the same time, we said this the other day, he has 65 career sacks. Like, he would have led the Jags in sacks for the last, 4 or 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they would have been better with him.
I know he's not as big to the team as Evan Ingram was this year, but would you consider Myles Jack as one of those guys, one of these beloved guys who ends up leaving the team?
Well, they did sign him, though. Like, they actually signed him to a new deal and then
traded him.
Did they just cut him last year or trade him? I think they just cut him because his couple years were up and they didn't owe him any more money.
I didn't realize that they had signed him and then they cut him. Okay.
Well, when they signed him, it made other people mad. That's kind of like how this came about.
Well, here's the deal with the Myles Jack stuff. They signed him Labor Day weekend of the Jan saga.
Right. That's what it was.
And what they basically did was like, hey, here's a guy that's not complaining about getting a new contract. We're going to give him a new contract.
Yeah, good call.
And that's the way they played it. And you're right, Kasey, in that you had guys that were mad about not getting paid or getting paid and others, that were getting paid. And so they did kind of set this weird thing, which also we haven't talked about, but Evan Ingram, do you keep him because everybody wants to keep him? Like, do you again, this goes back to Trevor,
right? You
mean
mean for the fan base?
No, not for the fan base, for the locker room.
Oh, okay.
It's like, listen, this guy, this is why I continue to say you can't put him on the franchise tag, because I think that's bad business. You brought him in here, he bet on himself, he won the bet, and now you're not going to pay him? Instead, you're going to tag him?
The franchise tag would be like welching on the bet. You're right about that.
Yeah, that would not be received well. I don't think they can tag him. I really don't. I think that has a chance to kind of
get ugly,
sit poorly with the football team in the locker room. Again, you have to understand players don't like to be tagged. Now, they don't always have a choice. And sometimes business is business. Like if you tag Jawan Taylor, which I don't think they're going to, but just in this instance, if you tag Jawan Taylor, I don't think everybody's like up in arms about it. If you tag Evan Ingram, I think players are like taken aback by that and offended by that.
You think more because of the 1-year deal and then the tag?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Like you can't ask a guy to come in here and bet on himself, and he chose to. That's part him, but he picked you to do it with, and he delivered and helped you get somewhere.
Yeah.
And then go and say, okay, well, do it again.
It was implied that and it was a prove it deal. He proved it, and you're like, nah, just kidding. We're going to do it one more time.
But on Jawan, I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong. Don't you think there's some admiration from guys like Josh Allen who are like, hey, we've been here the whole time. We saw this guy who literally had to fight for his spot to be a starter and then was great for us?
I think, yes. I'm not saying they would love it, Kasey. Right. I think it would be received differently. I think $16 million, by the way, it's a pretty hefty franchise tag. It's more than the tight end franchise tag. And I don't think, let's just say it in this respect, I don't think the locker room was upset when they initially tagged Cam Robinson.
I got you.
And then they eventually made a deal out of it. But I don't think they were upset about it or would have been upset about it. I think there are just different circumstances that are like, all right, that's not cool. And I think the Ingram one would be under that. And I might be over-dramatizing it.
By the way, the projected 2023 franchise tag for tight ends will be around 11.3.
Well, there you go. Like, again, he bet on himself. He made $9 million. You're going to give him a $2 million raise? That's it? Like, that's not – he played worthy of a $13 million, $14 million deal.
Oh, yeah. He was certainly more valuable to you than Dalton Schultz was or Dawson Knox was. Those guys making more.
Listen, I'd almost be mad if they tagged him. But I think that's not how you do it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's good business.
Especially because you're trying to get 5 to 10% on the deal as the agent.
Yeah.
I did start these negotiations a while ago.
A couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
We'll have to circle back up to that when Evan signs a deal somewhere.
You'd be like, hey, remember me.
At least come back on the show.
Like at the bare minimum, we don't need any checks. Just please come on one more time.
I'll take a check. Easy, buddy.
We don't need any of the checks.
We're not getting any of the checks.
Hey, maybe he can buy. Maybe we can help endorse Be Easy.
Ooh,
his fashion line.
I like it.
Right?
I'll wear whatever.
Send us some hats or something.
We don't have enough of those, huh?
At least I don't have to buy these.
That's true.
Hey, what do you got for tweets today?
Let's start with one of my faves. Let's go to Dove. This is a Bengals appreciation tweet right here. Hashtag Bengals players are openly calling the Chiefs Arrowhead Stadium Burrowhead Stadium because of how Joe Burrow's dominance has been displayed over Patrick Mahomes. Burrow 3-0 in his career versus Mahomes. And very quickly, we'll follow it up with a Hard Rock Sportsbook tweet. Joe Burrow versus Patty Mahomes head-to-head. Burrow 3-0. Mahomes obviously 0-3. Passing yards per game, Burrow at 327.3. Mahomes at 252.3. Completion percentage, Burrow 72.2. Mahomes 67.3. Touchdowns to interceptions, 8-1 for Burrow, 6-2 for Mahomes. And then finally, passer rating, as if 101 is a bad passer rating. That's what Mahomes put up, 121 for Burrow. Does Burrow just own the Chiefs and Mahomes, or has it just been luck up to this point? What do you think is going on here?
Well, I don't think it's luck. I think they match up.
Not that Burrow is a lucky guy, but just versus the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's just a matchup, and they feel confident in it, and I think that matters. I think we talk about this all the time. I think it's why the Jags couldn't beat the Texans. I think why the Jags couldn't beat the Titans. I think it's why the Jags could always beat Indianapolis here at home. For whatever reason, and players change and times change, and yet the trend doesn't change. It's like that if you're a baseball player and there's a certain pitcher that nobody can hit against, but you can. Like, it's just a weird deal.
Yeah.
And I think that matters. I think it actually carries some weight into this game. It also helps that Mahomes is hurt. It also helps that I just saw Kansas City, and I just don't think they're like a complete football team.
Not this
I think
year.
if you take Kelce out of the mix a little bit, even just moderately, I think they're good but not great. And I think they've been better over the years for this time of year. Now, we'll see. Well, I could be wrong. What's interesting to me is, and Kasey loves this guy, Joe Burrow.
Love him.
But to me, he is like one of the most unlikely superstars. It just seems like this average, like not crazy athletic in today's world, like specimen. Everybody seems like they're a specimen
like
nowadays.
A chiseled god, and then here comes Joe Burrow in a
Trevor.
dumb turtleneck.
Trevor's 6'6", that can move, and he's got an arm, and he's all like that is your athlete today. That's your superstar athlete. And then there's Joe Burrow, who, exactly. What what is he? Who is he? Where did he come from? Ohio State didn't want him, and then he goes on this crazy run at LSU. And now he's a superstar quarterback that seemingly can't lose in the playoffs with the Cincinnati Bengals of all teams.
Yeah.
I mean, are we shocked Urban Meyer made a bad decision to get rid of Joe Burrow? I don't think we should be.
Well, he didn't make the decision to get rid of him.
He just made the decision not to play him.
That's right.
It's funny. Ty said to me last night, he's like, outside of the arm strength, I feel like I could be Joe Burrow playing quarterback.
Settle down. Settle down, Ty. Love you, but settle down.
But his point wasn't, it's just like he just does seem like this average guy in a body of whatever that now has turned into a superstar.
He's an average Joe. I mean, it is.
And he does. I'm trying to avoid saying that.
No,
but
that's a thing.
He's very he's Brock Purdy on steroids. Brock Purdy is 7-0 somehow, and he's nothing special to athletically.
Kasey, comment?
Stop.
I know these are your two guys.
No,
I get
seriously. You're giving Kasey heartbreak right now.
Okay, but I get you, Brent. But is the greatest football player of all time not that guy? Tom Brady?
Yeah, that's true. But
and Burrow's more athletic than Brady.
He is more athletic than Brady. He can move. He can
better looking. Cosign. Better looking.
Hadn't really thought about it like that.
Why don't you break it down a little bit more? Why is he better looking? Go ahead.
Just more aesthetically pleasing.
The only guy I will say better looking about is Jimmy Garoppolo, all right? I mean, that's hands down. It's okay to say Jimmy Garoppolo is a good-looking guy.
All right.
Again, we're in a world where this athletic, just specimen reigns supreme in sports, from LeBron James to ever. I get what you're saying about Brady, but Brady wasn't superstar quarterback, I don't think, 2 or 3 years in. He was on a good team with Belichick. And he was doing good. He was doing well, and he did the right stuff, but he wasn't like, whoa, Joe Burrow's bringing him here. That's what the context is around Burrow. It's Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow. It wasn't Brady early on. It was, man, that defense is damn good. The Patriots can run the ball. There's Belichick. Zach Taylor gets no love.
True.
No love.
We were just talking
all
about
Joe
that.
Burrow.
Yeah, we were just talking about that recently. Talk about one of these guys who flies below the radar and deserves a lot more credit for what he does.
Absolutely. But when you say specimen, Brent, right, and I agree with you, there are a good amount of them in the league, but look at what's left. Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, specimen with you. Patrick Mahomes?
He's not a specimen, but he does stuff like it's Pistol Pete Maravich on a football field,
I get you. He can do crazy things. I'm with you. But, there's other guys that you look at, specimen, weapon, whatever you want to call him. Josh Allen, he's at home, but he's one of those guys. Lamar Jackson, he's not there. You do have these guys, but I think there's something to be said that if you surround if you want to say average quarterback in Brock Purdy or quarterback that can make every throw in Joe Burrow, if you surround them with the right specimens, that's what matters.
By the way, Brady, year 3, you want to talk about pedestrian numbers. 60% completion rate, 3,600 yards passing, 23 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
There's the greatest of all time right there.
And even Russell Wilson and guys like that. What is the trait of Burrow?
He's got a rocket arm. He can go downfield with high accuracy.
He doesn't have rocket arm, though.
He gets downfield with
Josh
these guys.
Allen's got a rocket arm.
Fair, but no one's comparing him to Josh Allen. I'm just saying Joe Burrow can get down there in a way that Tua can't.
It looks pretty effortless, too.
Yeah, it's just a wrist flick, 60 yards in the air. He gets down there, man.
And he's got this brashness, too, Kasey. He's got this I think that's
you
it
think
more
that's
than
the
anything
defining
else, right?
quality?
Brashness?
I think Brent just doesn't like young people, Kasey.
Is what it is. Yeah. I mean, I think also, I'm going to be fully honest. I don't know
it's not me saying I don't like him. I'm just asking, what is the trait? Why is he so good right now?
I think young people like me and Kasey, we have this attitude about us, and you don't like it, Brent. You're one of these old-fashioned dudes.
No, Zach Wilson has brashness to him. But he has this, fiery whatever to him. But he stinks. Joe Burrow has the same thing.
Is brashness cocky? Is that what
yes,
this is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Bold bravado.
I think he's
great. We can open up the thesaurus today here.
Thank you, because I'm sitting here like, what's brashness? Listen, I think you can be cocky, but also he's a leader. Like, his teammates follow him. Like, that's been the consistent trait from, LSU, even when he wasn't the Joe Burrow that he is now. Like, there was still respect because he played injured, he did all those things, and then they lead him to what they did at LSU that final year, and now he continues to lead his guys and, be that guy who gets sacked 60 times a year and gets up and is like, nah, it's cool. I'm going to drop a dime on the next play. And I know we have to move on, but if he beats if he beats Mahomes again, and I'm not saying he's playing Mahomes, like, how much longer does this guy have to do super incredible stuff, like go to another Super Bowl, maybe win another AFC championship before we're like, he just might be better?
If he wins the Super Bowl or goes to the Super Bowl again, I think that's a real discussion for next year.
I got two quick things on him. Did you see the video, the warm-up video that was going around?
Yeah.
The little flick?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I told Ty this last night, too. I said, I got this burning question of, did the receiver catch it?
Yes.
They never show it.
He caught it.
They do never show it.
They never show it.
But I thought you said he had no arm
why
strength.
wouldn't you show the completion of the catch? It was like 3 more frames of video.
It was snowing, Doug. Maybe they couldn't see it. Maybe they obviously have the full video, and
I know.
And they just say, hey, we can't really tell if he's catching it. Let's just cut it. We know what the
I
point
think he
of this
dropped
video.
it. I think he dropped it.
Okay, we can't put that on the quarterback.
That's what happened. I think he dropped it, so they cut it off. I want to know, social media guy, if he dropped it.
Bengals PR, can you please get back to us? Did he catch the football?
The other thing is, how do you like this comparison?
Probably not good.
Joe Burrow is Steph Curry.
That's fun.
Why are you making that comparison?
Well,
it's flashy.
Here's the thing, and Burrow in a way can bother you like the way Steph Curry bothered me. Steph Curry, which shouldn't bother anybody, he's fantastic. He's kind of his underdog.
Yeah.
He's not a physical specimen.
Yeah, he's not the
really
typical
good at his
body
craft.
for the NBA.
He's got this cockiness and this brashness.
And
to him.
quietly will own all the records by the time he's done. Yeah.
Exactly. Like he all of a sudden, boom, it was like this little guy that could shoot threes is the king of the league. And then he had his mouthpiece hanging out. And it's like, really? And now, like, we got Joe Burrow walking into stadiums with swag and leaving stadiums with Seinfeld pants on. It's like what Joe Burrow wears to the game and leaves with is just as important as, like, Steph Curry's mouthpiece hanging out of his mouth to me.
Aaron, you may have missed this. Brent hates the Steph Curry mouthpiece. It's like public enemy number one.
It sounds like it now.
It was. I've come around on it, but I hated it.
It's actually a good comparison, and I think that it could take more shape. One, they have to win because Steph Curry's a winner. But two, if he does, if they get the deal done, which they should, and then he's in Cincinnati for as long as, Steph's been with Golden State when in the NBA you have every opportunity to leave. He stayed. They weren't good in the beginning, and then he is the reason that they've built all this. So then if Burrow does win, stays in Cincinnati, then I think you're right on because it is flashy. There is a bit of arrogance, but at the same time, you respect it.
Yeah, you do. You respect, and there's a cool factor there. Like in a weird,
cool.
There obviously is a cool factor. And the other thing you said, Golden State, terrible losing franchise. Cincinnati, losing franchise, and they flip those around. If you want to keep with the comparison,
there we go.
Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry, we might get to a tweet and a half today because of all that Burrow talk.
That's all right. Let's go back to Sean Payton, who I love to talk about every day these days. I thought this was fascinating. No NFL team has scheduled a second interview with Sean Payton. As of right now, according to Ian Rappaport, this is his take, doesn't seem like there's a place for Sean Payton. He's interviewed with 4 teams. Those franchises aren't exactly the top of the heap, and they wouldn't be if they were trying to hire a new head coach. You got Denver in there. You got the Texans in there. You got the Cardinals in there. And then one that's escaping my mind right now, but it's another not great franchise.
Carolina?
Yes, they interviewed in Carolina. So those were the 4 places Sean Payton had an interview. And Kasey's got an interesting conspiracy theory on this. Kasey, go ahead.
Listen, I didn't think Sean Payton was going to be a coach of any of these teams because I think Sean Payton, he's getting these interviews. And if you're Sean Payton, you go into the interview with the Texans, right? And you're like, I want for me to actually sign up with the Houston Texans. I want this, and I want to be the GM, and these guys stink. These people need fired. You demand everything that you could possibly want if you're going to sign on to one of these subpar organizations. And then if they don't want you, then good. Guess what? I'm on Fox. It is nice up here on the set, folks. I think this whole thing was a sham.
He thinks,
Wasn't there this? There was talk like he was asking for $20 to $25 million. Was there a rumor out there?
You should.
Like, per year.
You should. If I'm going to coach one of these bum organizations, yes. I need everything. Because if not, I'll stay on Fox till week 7 when they fire Brandon Staley, and then I'll slide over there to a good situation. I'm serious.
I'm not a conspiracy guy, but when you listen to Sean Payton before this process even started, he's like, I don't want to go to a bad or dysfunctional organization, and that's the only teams coming knocking. Maybe Kasey's got a point. Maybe he's tanking an interview or just not interested.
By the way, you know what the biggest upset of the day is? A guy that's going to a murder mystery on Saturday night and a guy that loves toxicity in the workplace isn't a conspiracy guy.
No.
That is weird. I'll give you that.
I mean, come on.
I mean, some of them are fun, but I don't believe in most of them. Yeah.
Well, this is a good one.
This is a good one. Here, I'll give you odds of whatever on in the booth or on a sideline in the fall. Where's Sean Payton?
Here we go.
He's on the pregame.
So you have him in the booth at what percent?
Heavy favorite. Betting like minus 900 on the money line.
Wow.
I just don't see it.
Aaron?
I think he's going to be in Denver. I don't think they need to interview him a second time. I think they've already chosen him, and they just got to wait.
Heavy favorite?
Heavy.
Like minus 900 favorite?
Yeah, no, I'd go there with it. I think outside of Denver, I don't think he's going to Carolina. I don't think he's going to Arizona, and I don't think he's going to the Texans.
So you think he's going to sign on to Russell Wilson?
Yes.
I don't believe your conspiracy theory because I think interviewing sucks, and so why would you waste your time doing it this much?
That's fair.
You got to feel wanted. Want the attention.
Maybe. I like to feel wanted on the golf course instead, and if I was Sean Payton. But I think I'm going to put it at 65-35 that he's coaching.
Yeah, I think he's on the sideline with the Broncos.
Yeah, I don't know which team he does land on. Haven't thought enough about it, but the Broncos make some sense. It's a good organization.
I wouldn't be shocked if he went to the Cardinals either.
But Carolina might make some sense too. That guy's throwing a lot of money around. He wants to win.
But you don't have the pieces there. It's going to take you 3 years to get it up and running.
Hey, you know what? If it takes you 3 years to get up and running, that's okay. You know why? Because that's like $8 to $10 million per year. It takes you to get up and running, as long as you say it's going to take us 3 years to get up and running.
That's a good point. It's a lot easier to face the get it up and running request when you're getting paid $27 million for it. Yeah.
But that's why the Indianapolis thing doesn't make sense to me, because I don't think he's going somewhere where your quarterback, who might be bad, is taking up, 30% of your cap?
Arizona or Indianapolis? Because he's not interviewing in Indianapolis.
You mean Denver?
No. I'm getting to Indianapolis. But I'm saying the two teams you guys just mentioned, Denver and Arizona.
Right.
Why would you go there if the quarterback might be bad and he's taking up half your cap?
I don't think he believes Russell Wilson is bad, and I don't think he believes Kyler Murray is bad.
But we don't have a lot of evidence in the other way.
Well,
but I don't even think it matters who's bad. I think he sees talent in both, and the way offensive guys think is they can make anybody work. I think your cap point of view is a really good one because you're up against it. Why don't you go to a situation where you get a young guy that's not up against the cap? The only situation with standing here is if the Chargers' job did come open, and you get that caliber of quarterback, who cares what contract it is because you know he's good.
Right.
So getting a new quarterback in Carolina, let's say, to me would make some sense. Indianapolis, if they're going to go young, even though there's some thought today about Aaron Rodgers to Indianapolis, I think those things do make more sense for Payton because now he can go get other players, groom the young quarterback, and have some time to do it before the cap becomes an issue.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, yes. But also Sean Payton, for my theory, dumping the interviews, wait another cycle. Because what if it doesn't go well for the Jets? Does Robert Saleh get fired? I think Sean Payton would want to be a part of that roster. There's the Bucs. What happens there?
Talking about a dysfunctional franchise. I think the Jets are like the avatar for it.
Yes, fairness. But I think the roster's good. And these other dysfunctional franchises that we're talking about right now, the rosters aren't that good. At least if you wait another cycle, not only Brandon Staley, but could the Jets be available? What else could possibly happen in that time? Even Seattle. What if Pete Carroll calls it?
Who doesn't want to live in Miami?
So
yeah, and now Brady's going to Miami, apparently checking out schools.
That's why he's taking the interviews.
Hey, let's stay on the tweets. We got to take a break. We are doing the longest first segments of every hour in the history of ESPN 690. So let's take a break. Maybe not, but close. It feels like it today. We're live at String Sports Brewery. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. Doug Pederson will be here tonight, 7 o'clock. You can watch it on Fox 30 or come on down. We've got room for you here at Strings. We'll be right back.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690. A gusty line of showers and a few rumbles of thunder through early this evening, then clearing later tonight and turning much cooler. We'll drop into the 40s by morning, leading to a cool Thursday, but at least lots of sun. It'll be quite windy and highs only near 60 degrees. For the CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack's First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Before you buy a diamond anywhere, shop Beard's Diamonds.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine. I'm Ellie Anajar. Together, we're Anajar and Levine. If you've been hurt in a car crash, we'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call Anajar and Levine for your free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE.
Main office, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course, the family home. Why put your money in a New York City bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
For seniors, staying healthy can be complicated, but one of the easiest routes to good health is prevention. No matter what our community's current COVID-19 infection rates are, getting your booster shot now is a smart way to protect yourself from severe illness later. ElderSource encourages people 65 and up to get a safe, free COVID-19 booster. For more information, visit myeldersource.org or call the ElderSource helpline at 888-242-4464.
We've been in Jacksonville now for 15 years, and as you know and I know, we have to be ready for those hot days. And this time of year, the cooler temperatures, too. Need that AC working and then be ready to turn on the heat for a day or two. Bold City Heating and Air has us ready. They have for years. Can't say enough about their customer service. The communication, they are prompt, they are clean, they are good. Bold City Heating and Air, and right now, take advantage of their 0% financing on all purchases and just $97 for a tune-up. Be ready for the chilly weather and the heat. Bold City Heating and Air, boldcityac.com.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
As parents, we all want to ensure that our children are safe, secure, and healthy starting day one. Please make sure your newborn is sleeping safely. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com/safe sleep for infant safety tips. That's wolfsonchildrens.com/safe sleep.
You've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. You have to carefully monitor your health for the rest of your life. And you have an increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease.
Cut. Take two. Action.
You've been diagnosed with a new purpose: to fight for the amazing life you made for yourself. To look that risk of heart disease square in the face and say, no, not me. You've been given a new opportunity to live. Get started at NoDiabetesByHeart.org.
If you're experiencing domestic violence, it is not your fault. Hubbard House is here for you. You are not alone. Hubbard House provides free services and emergency shelter to survivors of domestic violence in Duval and Baker counties. Call 904-354-3114 anytime, 24/7 to confidentially speak to a caring advocate.
When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
It's go time at UNF Arena for the Ospreys as the calendar is flipped to 2023. ASUN action is underway in men's and women's basketball on the campus of the University of North Florida. If you haven't seen a game courtside or from the new suite, it's one of the best seats in Jacksonville. Swoop with the Ospreys as they build toward a run in March. Buy a ticket, see a schedule, get a score at UNFospreys.com. Be a part of the momentum at the University of North Florida. Hoop it up, swoop it up, UNFospreys.com.
Start your new year in a like-new car from the pre-owned experts at Arlington Toyota. Arlington Pre-Owned has over 300 used available. All makes, all models, some even same model year. You gotta see it. And when it comes to buying with confidence, just leave it to my friends at Arlington. Their 30-day exchange program comes with your purchase. That's 30 days to love your pre-owned purchase or exchange it. Add some major excitement to your new year and an amazing new ride from Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. In person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hey folks, now that the kids and grandkids have gone home and the decorations are coming down, I can see that it's time to get my carpets and sofas cleaned. That's where Zero Res comes in. Zero Res can clean the carpets, the sofa, the chairs, the area rugs, and even the tile and grout. Google Zero Res and see what your neighbors are saying with over 5,000 five-star customer reviews. Right now, get 20% off carpet cleaning and 20% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with the ESPN690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN690.
Hey, welcome back to String Sports Brewery. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz. It's Brent and Friends here on ESPN 690. Jaguars All Access coming up tonight, 7 o'clock. Place starting to fill up behind me here at Strings as we enter the 5:30 part of the hour. Again, 90 minutes until showtime. Here with Doug Pederson, our guest to put a bow on Jaguars All Access for this season. Really been a lot of fun. We got some tweets to get to and keep it rolling as we are deep in the conversation here on a Wednesday midweek on ESPN 690. Give it to us, Aaron.
All right, Jeremy Fowler is our next tweet, talking about a familiar name here in Jacksonville. Vikings wide receivers coach Keenan McCardle will interview in person Thursday for the Bucs offensive coordinator position, per a source. McCardle acquitted himself well in the Patriots OC interview process before they went with Bill O'Brien. So what do you think? Has Keenan McCardle done a good enough job out in Minnesota with guys like Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen to earn himself an OC spot?
Yeah, I mean, he's a wide receiver coach here in Jacksonville, then in Minnesota. I think we were sad to see him go. In fact, it's somebody that many people believe Urban Meyer should have kept on the staff. Instead, he went to Minnesota. Probably a smart move by Keenan to go to Minnesota.
Yeah, avoid that catastrophe, yeah.
Yeah, and so, yes, he's ready to be an OC, in my opinion. I think it's a progression that I think he's ready to take on. He's very good at the receiver position. I thought he did a heck of a job coaching. I think you could have made the case he was one of the best coaches that the Jags had before Urban got here on that staff, and his continued success with Minnesota. So the short answer is yes, I think he's ready. I think the irony here is you're replacing Byron Leftwich, who was with the Jags, with potentially Keenan McCardle, who was with the Jags.
Yep.
And potentially Jim Bob Cooter, who is with the Jags, who's also interviewing for that offensive coordinator position. So pretty wild the ties to Jacksonville when it comes to that Tampa position.
It sounds like McCardle left you with a good feeling, man. The question to you I've got, and to you, Kasey, as well, is if Chris Jackson ends up leaving this team for Texas, is it time to bring Keenan back to be the wide receivers coach here?
You asking me or Kasey?
A little both.
What you got?
He's not answering.
No, I think it would make a lot of sense. I think you saw these receivers develop. You don't have a lot of young receivers in this room, which I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I know that Calvin Ridley, not playing football for a couple of years, not saying he needs the coaching, but you could always use that voice. I think as we've seen with Doug Pederson staffs, it's continued former player after former player. You said it, Brent. They never should have got rid of him in the first place. And by the way, Aaron, you mentioned it, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, like the headliners. But look at that, the third receiver they have in Osborne, a guy that I had never heard of. And then as the season progressed, got better and better and better. So I think that's one thing that at least he'll bring up, I'm sure, in his interviews for being an offensive coordinator. But, yeah, if they could figure that out to bring him back, absolutely. And I think you look at Press Taylor right now, he's not going anywhere. But if they have another season like this and take another jump, Press Taylor is going to be one of those names looking at head coaches.
Hot commodity.
So you could almost have him as your next offensive coordinator in waiting.
I think what's interesting about I thought of this the other day. Leftwich was obviously a player for the Jags and ended up being a good OC for 3 years. Obviously, it didn't go well this time around, but he was good at the OC position. So I think he's going to end up as an OC somewhere else eventually. Then you look at Keenan McCardell, who's done a nice job at the wide receiver coach, and Mark Brunell's doing a nice job up in Detroit.
Yes, he is.
As a QB coach. It's wild to me that the former Jags and a couple of those guys under Coughlin, and that's where I was thinking, how much of the traits of Coughlin did some of those guys take? Now, Leftwich wouldn't have been. He wouldn't have matched up
certainly
correctly.
Brunell and McCardell would have gotten Coughlin rubbed off on him.
And who am I missing? I wonder if I'm missing somebody else, but I think that's just pretty wild that some of the former Jags, but especially those two under Coughlin that are doing pretty well in the coaching ranks. And Brunell obviously just jumped in like late in the NFL game, but he was a high school coach before that. Have fared pretty well to this point in the National Football League on the coaching front.
Yeah. You've also got Brad Meester coaching high school. He might have taken some Coughlin with him.
Well, you got like everybody coaching at Providence here in town that used to play for the Jags.
How about a tweet from Freezing Cold Takes? Let's go back to the very beginning of the season.
Is it a Martineau tweet on Freezing
Cold? I was going to say, is my name on here somewhere?
Maybe. But if we go back to the beginning of the season, guys like Rich Eisen, Steve Mariucci, Kurt Warner, Michael Irvin, Cynthia Friedland, and Rachel Bonetta were all picking the Bills to go to the Super Bowl and beat teams like the Rams or the Bucks or the Packers. We want to talk about revisionist history. Do you think this is the most shocking cold take from the beginning of the season, or can you think of others where we were convinced of something when the season started, only to learn better of it very, very quickly? You got a lot to choose from here.
Well, you have a lot to choose from in the surprise category.
Oh, yeah.
But I think you're asking more so like, wow, that everybody – I'm assuming everybody thought the Rams would win.
Rams are a
NFC
good
West.
one. I think Raiders are another good one. I think people looking at the Raiders going, that might be a dollar.
The entire
Broncos.
AFC West. The AFC West was considered to be the best division in football.
The Chargers, obviously. Brandon Staley. Bum. Come on.
And
that's a good one.
I guess Green Bay disappointed.
Yeah, although you could say that might have to do. Tampa was certainly a big one that disappointed.
Yeah, I don't think people saw, what was it, 9-8 or 8-9? 9-8, or was it 8-9?
No, they were 8-9.
Yeah, so Brady and Aaron Rodgers go at 8-9. That's probably the bigger flop than anything. Although Denver's up there.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a
flop. I would put Denver up at the first place because a lot of people picked them to win the division.
Yeah, I did. But
5-12.
The Buffalo thing is wild to me. So everybody picks them to win the Super Bowl. Okay. But the same questions that we had about Buffalo last offseason, didn't get changed, didn't get addressed.
They actually look worse to me this year than last year.
They got worse. They still cannot run the ball.
And the offense is reckless with the offense. Josh Allen is reckless throwing the ball. The defense, they missed Von Miller for sure. But they were supposed to be a better defense, and that defense did not look as healthy.
Last year they actually got hurt in the secondary a little bit down the stretch, but they didn't get hurt to the degree they got hurt this year. I mean, they got banged up pretty good. So I think that has to be part of the equation. The other thing I thought about, when you're measuring great quarterbacks and where these guys are going to rank, and again, we have this syndrome in a way that it's Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's the measuring stick, and even other guys in the past, like how many did Peyton get to in AFC championships and all these records. Well, it's going to be very hard to do because in the AFC, you've got all these quarterbacks. Are we going to knock quarterbacks for not making the title game but being bounced by, other elite quarterbacks? How fair is that to them? Josh Allen, all of a sudden, wait a minute, he's knocked down to, the fifth best quarterback in the AFC because he didn't make the AFC title game? He got beat out by Joe Burrow in the upcoming Bengals.
I think it depends how you lose.
Why is that a negative?
It depends how you lose.
Played poorly.
If you play poorly, you got to put it on his shoulders.
Their whole football team played poorly.
They did.
But he's supposed to be an elite quarterback with this elite offense, elite wide receivers, and what'd they put up, 10 points or so?
At
home.
In fairness, we knew Buffalo's defense was pretty good. They were great last year. I get it. So we said, yes, they have the defense. I'm not discounting that. But it wasn't that. That's not why you picked them to win the Super Bowl. You picked them because Josh Allen was supposed to get better. They had Stephon Diggs. The last time we saw
was
Gabe
supposed
Davis
to take a step forward, yes.
He scored 4 touchdowns against Kansas City in that game, and then I don't even know if he scored 4 touchdowns this year. Still can't run the ball. Dawson Knox, okay, I think he took a step back. I love the guy, but I think he took a step back. Like, they got worse. And now you've got Stephon Diggs who, I mean, more or less walked out before the coaches could talk at the end of the season. Like,
This is what happens when you lose Brian Daboll.
It's actually, yeah.
The crazy thing is about the Daboll thing is I thought what we saw at the end of the year is what we would see at the beginning of the year with Buffalo because of the Daboll thing.
Yep.
Because there was an inconsistency. What's crazy is they started off
hot,
like really hot,
red hot
under Dorsey, and then they faded. They couldn't keep it up. They couldn't evolve. People
the
figured
rubber
them
met
out.
the road. Yes.
And so here's a question for you guys: could we look back in, let's just say 3 years? We'll go small sample.
All right.
3 years, and say the loss to the Chiefs in the divisional overtime game last year, that crazy game, was peak Josh Allen.
I mean, I certainly don't think I think you've got more space to go upward with this man.
I mean, he was unbelievable in that game, but still lost.
But weren't we talking about him getting Tommy John surgery this season? Like, he's got more road in front of him.
I think you could make the case, though. Like, and again, there's still more football to be played, but I think in a big moment last week, he was nowhere to be found. And, I mean, there could still be more development there, but how do they get better? Like, what is Buffalo, like, what can they physically do to get better? They got him, their receiver. Still not winning those games. You going to go get another one? Maybe. Are you going to start running the ball? Probably not. I doubt it. But, like, I don't know how Buffalo gets better unless Josh Allen just gets another step better. He's already pretty good. Like,
I think Josh Allen needs to take a step, but you also don't have enough offensive pieces there. I think it's proven these teams that go very far deep into the playoffs, you got more than one option to throw to.
I still think continuity is king, guys, and they lost their OC, and somewhere along the way it got out of whack. And even though Dorsey had been there, I don't think it was as seamless of a transition. I think maybe it gets better, or maybe they're going to have to make a different move eventually to figure it out. But something felt broken in the last 6 weeks in Buffalo, and it proved out to be pretty broken in that respect, and not just on offense, in all facets. And maybe it was the emotional toll of the whole Hamlin situation.
Maybe.
You get fatigued. You get tired. That happens. I wondered that with the Jags going into Kansas City, and I don't think that's why they lost against Kansas City. But I wondered if all the emotional roller coasters of these wins and this late game and season drama would take a toll on the team from a mental standpoint, that they didn't even know it. Were they just running on adrenaline? And I do wonder the same thing a little bit about Buffalo and where they're going, and did they reach a peak status already? Maybe more so last year into the first month of this season. And ever since then, it's been a steady decline. We'll find out. Let's keep Daniel on the line. Let's take a break here on Brent and Friends on ESPN690. Come back, put a bow on the show. Maybe Daniel will also grade my interviewing skills like these guys did earlier
Would love it.
in the show.
Love it.
And we've got Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton on deck. We've got Doug Pederson here on Jaguars All Access at String Sports Brewery at 7 o'clock on Fox 30 as well. We'll be right back on ESPN690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Start the new year off with worry-free water. Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family, like they've done for my family for over 5 years. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment. Your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Well, hello there. I am the Guitar Hotel. I have over 3,000 of the newest slot machines and nearly 200 table games with real cards and real dealers. Come experience my incredible lineup of restaurants, bars, and of course, Hard Rock Live. Or spend a day soaking up the sun in my 18 acres of poolside paradise. I can't wait to meet you. Visit hardrockholly.com to find out more.
If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Have you seen your financial freedom wiped out by stock market volatility? It's Rich Jones. Consider investing in real estate funds. For Capital, Don Wenner is CEO and founder.
The LP Capital has provided our investors with consistent double-digit returns by investing in cash-flowing residential real estate. For more than a decade, we have had zero losses, little volatility, and have shot above our return targets in all of our investment funds. Plus, we offer monthly distributions and tax shelter opportunities.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial **invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 85% water, right?
85% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
O'Reilly Auto Parts provides more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also offer free check engine light diagnosis. We can scan your vehicle and provide a list of possible fixes. Find the right parts for you or recommend a great local repair shop. Don't ignore your check engine light. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Listen to ESPN690 anytime, anywhere, on any device. Whether you're at home or on the go, get the latest on the Jags, FSU, the Jumbo Shrimp, and Action Sports Jacks on Odyssey.com. That's AUDACY.com or on ESPN690.com.
All right, welcome back. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. We are at String Sports Brewery for a final time here in this football season. Maybe we'll come back and visit anyhow. You guys going to ever come out here so I'll buy you a drink?
I come out there without you. If you're there, it's kind of you're making me not want to.
You've been here just the once this year or a couple times?
A couple of times, 2 or 3 times.
All right. You know they're building one in Jack's Beach, too.
Ooh. Expansion. I like that.
Expansion.
I'm happy when people are winning and succeeding, Brent.
Yeah, me too.
Except for you guys.
Like us. I don't know which one we're doing. We're winning. Can you win and not succeed, or maybe just succeed but not win? I don't know.
Bet we're not doing any of those things.
We are. Oh, yeah, we are. Just ask Daniel. Daniel, I think he's still on the line. Let's get him in here.
Danny Boy,
Wednesday.
Let's go,
What's
bud.
Up? Oh, Danny Boy. Should we play Oh, Danny Boy music? My mom used to love playing that on the violin.
Mama Martineau does love herself some Danny Boy.
My grandma's best friend always used to, as soon as I walked in the room, she'd start singing that to me every time.
How sweet.
So, first off, on Josh Allen, I like Josh Allen, but he really honestly reminds me a lot of Blake Bortles. Now, obviously, Blake didn't end up with the same off-season quarterback coach like he did, to up his game, and unfortunately we had, a revolving door of coaches, so he never really got to solidify himself. But, as far as measurables and everything else and abilities go, I really think of them about the same. So it'd be interesting to see what he ends up doing in his second year for a system. But as far as your interviews go, they actually were the feelings questions. Those weren't feelings questions. those, in the traditional sense of, how do you feel? They were those were legit. We'll let those pass.
I'll give Daniel some credit in that Brent did not ask Doug, how do you feel? He asked him, how did it feel?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It totally changes the context, and context is everything. And I do have one other quick question for you. Actually, two quick things. One, I would love to see somewhere a graphic made of all the things that Doug achieved and our team achieved this year.
Oh, all the toxic streaks that came to an end.
Exactly. The first time of this, or haven't done this in that long, and all those monkeys that he was just, chucking monkeys all over the place.
Shedding them.
Oh, it was fantastic.
That's a good. Yeah, well, I think I heard him, Dan Patrick, say something like, we'll get you the list. And maybe we'll make the list for him, and we'll probably miss some. There's a lot of firsts. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it. Thanks for the grade, too. I appreciate you defending me on the interviewing skills.
Yeah, we need a new grader, to be honest.
It's really a bad question if it solicits a good answer. It doesn't matter what you asked or how it was phrased, quite frankly.
Okay. If you feel that way, that's fine.
The answer is no. I don't have the my phone near me right now, so keep an eye on the clock and let me know, Kasey Kurtz.
Okay.
He's already mad at you, Brent.
What's he mad about?
You took an what's the word I'm looking for?
You didn't want me to take a break?
Yes.
I didn't. No, I had it built the other way.
You didn't have permission to take the break.
We should have.
And then,
I was wondering. I was in no man's land.
He was kicking the Gatorade cannon.
You could have texted, but and then you awkwardly were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to break, but we're gonna keep Daniel on hold." I'm like, "Why would we do that?" So I wasn't sure if we were actually going to break. And then you're like, "We'll be back," and I was like, "Oh, music, turn it up quickly. Let me rebuild this."
Brent,
whole
this
thing.
guy gives you no respect, man. You shouldn't say my bad. Who is this guy to tell you how to do your radio show?
Well, I saw it was 44 on the clock. I was like, we either got to break now or we're not breaking, but we hadn't discussed it. So
Well, in fairness, Brent, I mean, let's be honest here. The commercial break, you throw your headset off, say something along the lines of, "I'm done talking to these peasants," and then you talk to other people that we can see in the background of the TV shot who apparently aren't peasants. And,
I will say you got a good point, Kasey. Brent really does treat us like garbage when he walks away in the break. We're sitting here doing the work, and he's just walking off like, "Oh, we'll let the guys handle it."
Yeah.
Listen, I carry a Sharpie around for a reason. To
give to the celebrities when someone wants an autograph from them?
That is
They're
true.
like, "Doug's coming. Do you have a pen?" Brent's like, "Yes."
That's a funny thing you say that, because we're at Johnny's Tavern last week for our special, and Baselli is in the crowd. He's like, "Brent, you got a Sharpie?" I was like, "Yep, here you go." I don't know who told him I had a Sharpie.
Always
or if he
prepared.
just knows that I always have a Sharpie.
It sounds like he listens to this show.
Yeah, he probably listens to this show because the other
good.
shows make him fall asleep.
Yeah.
So.
Of course I have a Sharpie. Any other show make him fall asleep?
Yeah, it's better than Ambien. Just listen to those guys.
That will do it. I think I have to go now, right? The clock says it's time to go to break.
Keep
The music
talking. Who cares? It's only
that.
Kasey.
Roughly.
Overtime with Kurtz.
I didn't pay for the spots. I don't care if they play or not. I mean, somebody's going to be mad, not me.
I'll be at Nimnik Buick GMC on Phillips Highway tomorrow.
Nice.
So come on by, say hello, 3 to 6.
Nimnik
and
folks.
The peasants will be in the studio.
Yes,
making
we
graphics.
will.
Yeah, we
the
will.
boys. We'll be here.
Ain't that the truth?
Trying to get us on to commercial break on time.
Never happens, never will.
Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton. Up next, Jaguars All Access with Doug Pederson tonight at 7. Hope you can join us. Fox 30 is the place to watch if you can't get here, and we'll do it again tomorrow. For Aaron Schachter and for Clay Harbor visiting, and for Kasey Kurtz, I'm Brent Martineau. Have a good night, everybody.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Everyone knows time is money, so don't wait weeks for the IRS to send out your tax refund. Go to Jackson Hewitt instead for up to $3,500 with a no-interest, no-fee tax refund advance loan. With up to $3,500, you could bring home the bacon and bring it home today. Money now instead of later? That's worth its weight in gold. Don't wait weeks for your refund. Go to Jackson Hewitt today. For eligible clients, loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company, details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Anyone with a pet knows that they are truly a member of the family. I know my family and I would go above and beyond for our black pug Arlo, which is what the best veterinary practices understand. People need to be able to trust whose hands they are putting their pets into. So when they're looking for a new veterinary practice, one of the first things they do is look at the practice's online reviews. At Cox Media Group, we help ensure that your online reputation and reviews are strong. So let's embark on improving your digital reputation. Head to cmg.com to find out more so we can see how Cox Media Group can help you boost your website's traffic.
Hi, I'm Diana. As a veteran, I know that for many servicemen and women, the battle doesn't always end when they come home. Because I too struggle with the invisible wounds of service. Thankfully, I found American Humane's Pups for Patriots program, which brought Sam into my life. Before being paired with Sam, I didn't get out of bed for most days. Pups for Patriots and Sam literally changed my life. Now I'm able to go to the store without having a panic attack. I'm finally able to live my life the way I want to live it. Pups for Patriots provides trained service dogs to veterans like me at no cost. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about their Pups for Patriots service dog program. Let's give our veterans a fighting chance.
A message from American Humane.
I am Dion Wellington, owner of Ice Capade Frozen Treats, and a Jack's Chamber member and graduate of JWBC's Entrepreneurial Certificate Program. Connecting with JWBC has provided me with the education, resources, and meaningful relationships to be more confident in growing my business in historic Springfield. This support is invaluable to women in business, and I am most thankful to be part of it. For more information, visit jacksjwbc.com.
What's up? It's Kasey. Check out the podcast Action Sports Jacks on ESPN690, wherever you get your podcasts. Every weeknight at 6 p.m., it's Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, and check us out right here on ESPN690.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN690, a Cox Media Group station.
I'm Christine Lisi. Today, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes put to rest any doubt regarding his status for Sunday's AFC Championship game versus the Bengals. He said he's ready to go. Also said he's continuing to get treatment on his high ankle sprain and that the ankle has progressed. He participated in the morning walkthrough and practice as well. With an injured Mahomes, there is one player in particular that's key for the Chiefs' offense Sunday, explains ESPN's Marcus Spears.
Outside of the offensive line, which is obvious, is Isaiah Pacheco, their running back. Listen, this is about the run game for Andy Reid. Isaiah Pacheco with 4.34, almost 4.2 speed. We saw that burst last week in the game against Jacksonville. He can be the difference maker, not only to give them a running game, but to also keep pressure off of Patrick Mahomes.
49ers running backs Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell and receiver Deebo Samuel all set out today's practice as they deal with various injury issues. Coach Kyle Shanahan, though, did express confidence they'll be able to all play in Sunday's NFC title game at Philadelphia. NBA, ESPN's Dave McMenamin reports Lakers set to welcome Anthony Davis from a foot injury against the Spurs tonight.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier to help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Are you interested in giving back to your community but aren't sure how? Do you possess a skill set that could help aspiring small business owners? Have you ever considered sharing your knowledge base through one-on-one counseling? If so, you may be just the right person to become a SCORE mentor. Since 1964, SCORE has helped more than 11 million entrepreneurs and small business owners. In Jacksonville, SCORE provides services to over 8,000 individuals annually through confidential one-on-one mentoring, as well as hosting over 140 workshops. Find out more and apply today by clicking the volunteer tab at jacksonville.score.org.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
How you doing? How you been on a Wednesday? A nice, whimsical Wednesday. Here on Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690. Brian Middleton is the broadcast Don. He is streaking in terms of being on time to work.
Again, what was the catalyst for this win streak? I feel like San Francisco.
Listen, sometimes you just need the voice of reason to show up to work on time, but I'm not talking about you, Brian Middleton. I'm talking about others that work in this building, and sometimes the voice of reason is Aaron Schachter screaming at you.
Aaron Schachter is the Brock Purdy of overtime right now.
He's not going to like that. He thinks Brock Purdy's bad.
I get that, but Brock Purdy's on a win streak.
He is. A pretty substantial win streak, and we'll have an opportunity to win yet again and go to the Super Bowl later this week. That was Brian Middleton. He's on the ones and twos. Kasey Kurtz with you. We take you up until 7 o'clock tonight on Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton right here in Jacksonville, Florida. If you're on the stream from beyond, wherever you may be, but we appreciate you listening to Brent and Friends as well as Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton. Brian Middleton, you have turned into a big poll guy. What's up with that?
I like the engagement.
And listen.
Actually, it's not the engagement from me. It's the engagement from ESPN690 people. But it's all good.
So this is real life story. Brian texted me two nights ago and says, hey, can you retweet the poll?
Yes.
To try to give it some love. I've never felt that important on Twitter until that moment.
Yeah.
Then you follow it up with the next day, hey, can I get an ESPN690 retweet? What happened, dog?
That's what I said the first time.
No, you said, can you? You said, can you retweet? I thought you meant Kasey Kurtz, not ESPN690.
Is that why you didn't retweet it this time right
Yes,
here?
I was salty. I was like, you want your ESPN retweet? You got it, buddy.
You know what?
You got it.
I can actually see you saying that, like sitting on the couch and saying something to Amanda or saying it to Blue and just being like, I can't believe this.
I was like, fine, I won't retweet it. I'll give you what you asked for.
That's crazy because I slept well. And you were fuming for about 20 seconds on that.
I was big beefing. I retweeted, threw my phone down in disgust. Yeah. I was like, I thought we were better than this.
Every time I say 690, I just mean you because they don't trust me with the login information.
Yeah.
So I got to go through somebody who has the login information.
So anyway, you become a big poll guy. First off, it was who do you think's going to go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And we did that yesterday. So today, and by the way, there's another poll up on Brian Middleton's Twitter, I believe, if you would like to go find it. But, and by the way, Brian's Twitter is at @TheBroadcastDon, which is why we call him the Broadcast Don. Brian Middleton, what do the results of poll number 2 say about the NFL playoffs and potential Super Bowl matchups?
Yeah, so you know what? We put up all potential matchups between the 4 teams left in the NFL playoffs. And we just asked, what matchup do you want to see in this year's Super Bowl? And leading the way, Kasey Kurtz, with 40% of the votes.
Really?
The 49ers versus the Bengals.
Yep. That's the one I voted on.
I got to be real with you. I get it, but that wasn't my favorite. Like, that's not the one that I chose.
What did you choose? Because that's what I chose, 100%. That's what I want to see.
The Bengals versus the Eagles.
Really? You've been an Eagles hater?
Yeah, I am still. Like, I'm not high on them at all.
For 12 months, it feels like.
But I think that it would be a better game. Listen, I'm high on Joe Burrow. I got to be real with you.
You should be.
I think that San Francisco defense, I think they're a buzzsaw. And now that they're this close to potentially getting into the Super Bowl, and I just got to say, I think that it's going to be ugly for whoever sees them in there. But that being said, I think it would still be a good game. Sure, it'd be a fine game. I don't know. I like the storylines better with Philly and Cincinnati. And, I chose that one. So to see the 49ers and the Bengals be number 1, impressive. I got to tell you what, nobody wants to see the Chiefs and the 49ers again.
Really?
Nobody wants to do that. 3%. So 3%. I'm assuming that's one vote?
Yeah, I don't know
half
math
a vote?
like that. Yeah. Well, I don't think
Can
it's
you do
half
half
a
votes?
vote. No. So I just want to lock you in here.
Yeah.
You don't want to see the San Francisco 49ers and the Cincinnati Bengals because you're trying to save Joe Burrow from the embarrassment?
No. But that's a great way to do that. You should be a lawyer. You should be a prosecutor because that was impressive. I'm just saying, out of the 4 matchups, I think that they are all pretty good. I don't know. I just think we'd get a better game than with the Eagles and the Bengals. A gut feeling. But, yeah, I'm still not high on Philly in the sense of they should be ranked number 1 in the power rankings. But Philly, they got a heck of a defense. Miles Sanders isn't talked about a whole lot. Top 5 rusher.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is Kasey's MVP.
He is.
And
He should be the league's MVP.
Yeah, Sirianni got, just disrespected around here. So I'm just like, now they got chips on their shoulder? A 14-win team got a chip on their shoulder? Holy smokes.
I mean, I get it, but I think the reason, and listen, the Philly defense is good. It's not the San Francisco defense, but the San Francisco defense is the reason I want to see them in the Bengals, right? I believe in Joe Burrow. He's my guy, but I want to see him go up against the toughest competition that there is in the league, and Philly is great competition. If they get there, that defense is legit. Joe Burrow will have a time with them, but he would have more of a time with San Francisco, and I think the intriguing part of that for me, can they keep him clean? Because you can throw it a little bit. No, probably not. But you can throw it a little bit on San Francisco, given time. And they're good with those quick passes, get it out. So I think there's a path to success for Cincinnati if they, of course, beat Kansas City. But then the San Francisco matchup would be Nick Bosa and that pass rush on the Cincinnati offensive line, who's been bad. But in fairness to Cincinnati,
they've been better.
They were incredible last week.
Yeah, they've been better.
They had a dude playing left tackle that has never started an NFL game, and he was pancaking people. He was putting people on their behind.
This ain't Cincinnati O-line that messed around and got Joe Burrow injured. This is not them. They're not playing at that level.
And the crazy part is, if you check the Madden rankings, they might be worse. This offensive line might be worse by their Madden ranking, but they're playing better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they got guys hurt now, and if they get to the Super Bowl, we'll see if some of those guys can come back. But I would be... I'm gonna be at the Super Bowl, so
you will.
I'm hoping for
talk your talk. King.
I'm hoping that Joe Burrow's there with me, right?
Yeah.
But I'll be thrilled either way.
Okay.
But I'd like to see Joe Burrow in San Francisco.
Yeah. A close second though, Kasey, from the 49ers and Bengals, the Eagles and the Chiefs. They were right behind at 37%. Now that was surprising as well.
So here's what I can't figure out yet. Are we sick of Patrick Mahomes as like a football community? How many? There was like 40 million people that watched the playoff game this weekend. Not just the Jags game. I'm trying to think of which one it was. Whichever game. San Francisco, Dallas. Yeah. So you got like 40 million people watching the game, right? So as a collective, not all 40 million, I get that. But are we sick of Mahomes? Like if Mahomes goes to the Super Bowl, are we like... Again? Like, do we already have that Brady fatigue? Like, to be real with you, I want to see Burrow, but that's a little biased on me. But that's your MVP. I'm not saying he's your king, but that's your MVP.
No, that's the MVP.
That's your MVP, Patrick Mahomes.
And the MVP.
That is your
It's all good. The
MVP.
AP will come through for me.
We'll see. He might be somebody's MVP. Are you fatigued by it, or are you like, yes, give me more Patrick Mahomes all the time, even if that means no Joe Burrow?
All right, speaking strictly as a fan of football, not just the Jags. I'm putting that hat up. I'm hanging that up for a second, okay? Certain players get to a point to where I want to see how far they can go in their greatness, right? And you mentioned Tom Brady, and I got to admit, listen, I'm not one of these just never Brady people. And you got those out there that just hate him and have hated him probably since, I don't know, the second Super Bowl or something like that. Once a certain player has exhibited the ability to win or to lead or to be a part of championships, be the biggest piece of it, and they've done it over and over again, there's a part of me, as strictly a fan of football, I want to see how far this one player can push it into history. So because of that, I'm not going to be tired of Patrick Mahomes. Now, putting the Jags fans cap back on, if he's playing the Jags, even if he's on one ankle, and I'm like, please hit him. Yeah, I get tired of him in the moment because I'm like, this can't be real. He's still doing this stuff. Nobody's figured it out yet. But on a macro view, Kasey, he's one of the few players at the point across any sport that I'm just like, all right, I want to see how far he can go historically. So I'm not going to be tired of him in that capacity.
That's interesting. I don't have a feel for all 40 million people, but I sense that there is a little bit of the we've seen it. And I know you didn't see it last year, but I like your take because as badly as I want to see Burrow, I think, if it is Mahomes, I'd be like, you know what? All right. I can get with this. And I just wonder, as a mass NFL viewership, are you sick of it? You can let us know in the chat, by the way, if you're on chat or on a streaming platform, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You can let us know. If you are sick of Patrick Mahomes, I assume most people aren't. Maybe you are. Who knows? Let us know. But for Patrick Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl, who, by the way, practiced in full today, did not limp coming out of the press conference. Seems like everything's going to be fine with the ankle for Patrick Mahomes, which is a crazy thing. But they would have to beat the Cincinnati Bengals to get there. I think we all know that to be true. And we all know that they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals 3 times in 2022, including the playoffs. The Cincinnati Bengals are a bad matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs. It finally took some team to figure it out, but a consistent bad matchup they are for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we've talked about throughout this season and throughout multiple seasons that curses are real. The Colts can't win in Jacksonville no matter what happens. I mean, the Chiefs or the Bengals players are calling Arrowhead Stadium. Have you seen this? Burrowhead Stadium. Is that too much?
It's great for us, but it's too much.
I love it, but is it too much?
It's too much,
Yeah.
especially the fact that, how I feel about Eli Apple. I don't care what that apology said from his PR person.
Yeah.
I need a healthy Patrick Mahomes to just, I'm talking about all day. Force it in there. 50 targets on whoever Eli Apple is guarding. Just throw it at him all the time. But, to your original question, it could be too much. But you like trash talking. I enjoy teams, actually, that talk it and walk it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bengals have done it in every way possible outside of a very close Super Bowl loss. You think about it, and they've walked it against everybody in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody in the AFC, including Kansas City, who I'm high on, got to shut up and take it until they do something about it.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I think after the Super Bowl loss last year, we said, okay, Cincinnati, are they for real? Probably, but they have to prove it. Show me something. And you've asked multiple teams to do that in your power rankings. But I think as a whole, we said, hey, you got to show us something, right? Lamar Jackson's coming back. Go ahead and do it while Lamar Jackson's healthy, win that division and run that division. And they said, cool. And they did that. If they win again and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, there's twofold of this. That would be back-to-back AFC champs, back-to-back Super Bowl appearances, with still an opportunity to win it if they could, win this year. Is that enough for them to clear-cut jump the Kansas City Chiefs? And I know the easy answer is yes, because you'd be like, Kasey, they beat them 4 times and they've gone to 2 straight Super Bowls. I get that. But the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are still Patrick Mahomes. So the first part of my question that I will have you answer, are they clear-cut, no matter what happens in the Super Bowl, going into next season, the number 1 team in the AFC is the Cincinnati Bengals until further notice?
Yeah, I think so, unless people drink the Buffalo Bills juice again and just out of nowhere say, hey, you know what, the Bills should be the Super Bowl favorites, which,
It's a great point that you bring that up, because we talked about that earlier today, and I'm going to pull it up here in just a second on the stream. And it was pretty much the Buffalo Bills last year they came out of that game that they lost to Buffalo or lost to Kansas City, and it feels like they got more respect than Kansas City for actually winning the football game. That play with with Tyreek Hill at the end, they make the play, they beat them. And I'm throwing this up on the stream if you're on the stream. This is from earlier. We did it in our tweet section on Brent and Friends. Rich Eisen, Steve Mariucci, Kurt Warner, Michael Irving, Rachel Bonnetta, Cynthia Freeland all picked the Buffalo Bills before the season to win the Super Bowl. Clean sweep.
Crazy.
So that happened. That idea of the Bills happened without even winning an AFC, without even going to a Super Bowl, without barely winning playoff games. So you've got this kind of nonsense, which, by the way, I don't think will happen again with Buffalo, because I think there's an obvious step back. But, I mean, if stuff like this happens, anything's possible. So that's why I think the question makes sense, but I don't think everyone's going to feel the way I feel. You can go on, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with the same sentiment. And then to the overall question, will Cincinnati be the team to beat as far as the AFC is concerned going into next year? I mean, you don't know pretty much. I don't know their free agency, like salary cap stuff. I don't know that about Cincinnati, so I would need to look at that. But I don't think they're losing anybody of note that would damage their trajectory as being the favorites going into next season if they were to represent the AFC again in this year's Super Bowl. Another question about that, though, Kasey, is we talk about the players. You haven't been down on Zach Taylor, okay? But you haven't been high on him a while back. I don't know if that's changed. That's what I'm asking you right now. The Cincinnati Bengals, whether they win or lose this game right here, Zach Taylor, an elite coach in the NFL, right?
Interesting question. I will answer it. Let me get this in on the chat, though.
Okay.
Ryder on Facebook says they need to win a Super Bowl, I believe. And I'm assuming that is answering my question, what will it take to be the clear-cut number one in the AFC? It's an interesting take, and it's not wrong because Kansas City has that. But
that's a long time ago.
I don't know.
Keep stretching out year after year.
I hear it. It's a sound argument. Kansas City's got the Super Bowl, and this Bengals installment doesn't. I get it. It makes sense. I don't know if I agree, though, because I think maybe it's recency bias, but Kansas City ain't done it in a while. And as great as they've been, they've only got one, which is a crazy thing that I think is easy to put out of your mind. They only got one. They need another. Desperately. I mean, Mahomes can be great. That's fine. But he can't be the GOAT if you don't start winning some of these. The numbers might say what they say when he's done because he'd be throwing for like 5,000 yards. He'd be doing crazy things. I get it. But you only got one. You only got one. So I hear it. And by the way, if they win it, if they win the Super Bowl this year, Cincinnati, I think it's leaps and bounds.
Oh, yeah.
And to answer your question about Zach Taylor has – I'm not going to say Zach Taylor got lucky. But there was – when you get Joe Burrow, and it's definitely not lucky he tore his ACL because then you end up with Jamar Chase. But they drafted really well. They put themselves in position, and now I think you're seeing Zach Taylor blossom into the coach that is elite. Because at first he was still figuring it out, and there was, as we do in the NFL after one bad season, you're like, we got to get somebody else in there. And they didn't do that. They let it develop, and now I think you're seeing Zach Taylor take on that leadership that the coach has to have. Think back to preseason, joint practice, Aaron Donald's hitting people with helmets. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was the Bengals they were practicing with. Zach Taylor got in front of it. I think you had everything that happened in that game against Buffalo with the DeMar Hamlin situation, and Zach Taylor proved to be a leader for his team and rally his team in a traumatic situation, although not their teammate, still one of their football brothers. So I think you've seen Zach Taylor become the leader that a guy – or start to become a leader that a guy like a Doug Pederson is, right? I'm not saying he's on that level yet, but I'm saying you can see it. And also, I think something needs to be said about this guy's calling the plays. This guy's the offensive mastermind. And Joe Burrow might be able to make every throw, but you still got to scheme it up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I put Zach Taylor. He continues to climb that list. And
I tell you what, Kasey, them Taylor boys.
It does make you wonder about Press Taylor.
They're coaching out here. Uh-oh.
It absolutely makes you wonder about Press Taylor. I agree with that. Now, you mentioned the coaching part of it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Zach Taylor is better than Andy Reid at what he does because I don't believe that to be true. But I believe that if they continue to beat him, there's definitely something to be said, and that's where I bring up this one. Patrick Mahomes is great.
Oh, he about to say some foolishness. I can tell by the way he took
But
the
if
balls.
Joe Burrow beats him again and is 4-0, and let's say they do win the Super Bowl, there's a conversation to be had.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
No, absolutely not.
But why is there not then?
Well, first, we say this quarterback beats this quarterback, and technically it's true, but it's more so the team.
I agree with you. I agree with that.
And
by
it
the way.
depends on how it looks. Because if it looks like how that Buffalo-KC playoff game last season went, well, both of those guys, Allen and Mahomes, were lights out. Like, they were great. They were making all kinds of plays. And in that case, I can't put that on one quarterback. I can't put that on Mahomes and vice versa. I can't put that on, Joe Burrow. But if it's something where Burrow and the boys go out there to Burrowhead and he puts up whatever you want to look at, 29 of 35, 290, or, let's go with 300, 325, 3 touchdowns, 0 INTs, and then Mahomes, injured or not, goes out there and it's a lot less, then maybe you can start to creep in the beginnings of that conversation, the beginnings of it. But I would still go with Patrick Mahomes, every day, twice on Sunday, even if something like that happened. But the beginnings of the conversation, I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't be like, oh, you're talking foolishness right now, because that would make it 4 in a row. Joe Burrow would have been impressive in basically all of those games. And there is something to being able to win, whether it be on home or on the road, no matter where it's at. We can beat you, and you're supposed to be the best. Like you said, Kasey Kurtz, to beat a man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah, and I mean, he has done that. And I just put this up on the stream if you are on one of our video streaming platforms. And it's the stats between the two, to your point, Brian Middleton. But in the career so far, Joe Burrow is 3-0. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is 0-3. I'm not a big quarterback or team win being a quarterback stat, but obviously here it is something. Yards per game, Joe Burrow, 327.3 on average. Patrick Mahomes, 252.3. So that's not close. Completion percentage, Joe Burrow 72, Patrick Mahomes 67. Joe Burrow 8 touchdowns to 1 interception, Patrick Mahomes 6-2, pretty similar. Joe Burrow with the passer rating of 121, Patrick Mahomes with the passer rating of 101. But so the stats obviously favor Burrow, so do the wins. But I will agree with you that Joe Burrow's not going against Patrick Mahomes in this game. He's going against the Kansas City defense. All right, I agree with you fully there. But if he beats him again, and don't let him win the Super Bowl, because then I'm going to get reckless, right? And you already think this part of it's kind of reckless. If they both have a Super Bowl,
well, yeah, okay,
I'm going to get, it's not even close. Because this conversation was with Josh Allen. And in the span of a season, that's not it anymore, in my mind. It's Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. And maybe it never was Josh Allen in this conversation. Maybe it should have been Joe Burrow the whole time. We just didn't know. But now I think clearly Joe Burrow has jumped Josh Allen, and there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the AFC, but a lot of quarterbacks that have proven nothing. Justin Herbert, absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Lamar Jackson has proven some stuff.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying he has proven them.
Okay.
He's proven some stuff, but can't stay on the field right now. Trevor Lawrence has proven some stuff.
Absolutely.
More than Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
More than a lot of these young quarterbacks. But Joe Burrow now, potentially going to be 4-0 over Kansas City. 2 Super Bowl appearances. That's a lot.
Well, then let me ask you this, Kasey.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a bit of a jump, but it has the connections of the Bengals.
What you got?
So my favorite matchup that I liked on the poll, Bengals and Eagles, you really didn't give your thoughts on that matchup or what you would think that would mean for Jalen Hurts to get to a Super Bowl and maybe even win it. Do you even like that matchup? I know you're going to watch the Super Bowl because you're going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But does it excite you the way that the other 2 matchups we've talked about do?
Yeah, it does. It does. I think Jalen Hurts, whether he's the MVP or not, and although I think he should win it, he probably will not. He's my MVP. But I don't know if he's going to win it. And I think there's a conversation to be had about Jalen Hurts that brings his whole career to this point together. Not sure if he's their quarterback to taking them to the Super Bowl. But I am intrigued to watch Jalen Hurts play football because of what he can do with his legs and what he can do with his arm. It is very similar to Lamar Jackson, but Jalen Hurts has that I'm going to punch you in the mouth that Lamar Jackson doesn't have. Lamar Jackson's like, I'm going to shake you out of your shoes and I'm going to run right past you. Jalen Hurts is like, I might run right past you, but I'm also going to put my head down and knock you in the next Tuesday. And that there's just an exciting part of that. Pairing that with Philly's offensive line against a Cincinnati potentially defensive front that I think is pretty good and can get after the passer. I think that's an exciting matchup. But the reason that I would be excited for Philadelphia and Cincinnati would be, I told you, I think no matter what happens, Cincinnati can score on San Francisco. So if I believe they can score on San Francisco, I certainly think they can score on Philadelphia. I'm not getting reckless. I'm not saying they're putting up 40. But I think they can score high 20s, low 30s easily. But what I like about Philadelphia is I think they're doing that exact same thing, if not more. There's at least questions with Brock Purdy. Can he do it? Maybe. Do they have the pieces around him? Yeah, they do. But Jalen Hurts not only has the pieces, he's the weapon. So I think that is a game that I wonder if the NFL wants more than San Francisco because of how high scoring it would be. You could get a game there that's 44-41, something like that. That'd be fun. So, yeah, I really think we are, as football fans and viewers, I don't think there's a bad matchup to be had with what's left. Across the board, there's intrigue at the quarterback position. That's the first checkpoint in the NFL. Do you have good quarterbacks? You've got 3 quarterbacks that are definitely good, and you have Brock Purdy, who there's a ton of intrigue. Can this guy, who was picked last, win the freaking Super Bowl? Maybe. And then here's the crazy part. He still might not be their quarterback.
Wild.
One
more thing, Kasey. You look at some of the QBs here. It's been noted a bunch of times like, oh, the oldest QB was Patrick Mahomes. But you look at the QB play, and that new generation is fully ingrained now. Like, yeah, Tom Brady was still in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers had a chance to. But you just think back over the past 10 years, especially. 10 years ago was 2013. So you had guys, you had Peyton Manning had won the Super Bowl, so he was still there from like the old guard. Tom Brady went on a run right after that. You know, Aaron Rodgers was in NFC championship games, but we're at a point now you can point to 5, 6, 7 names before you mention either one of those guys we just named. And it's a good thing to see the young talent that's growing into like the face of the NFL. And you'll be dealing with these matchups for the next decade and then some.
It's a great thing. And Matt Cooper in our chat says it's Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence from here on out. Might be right.
There you go.
And it's just, it is. It's a good thing for the league, and it's a good thing for, like fans our age and older than us, obviously. You saw Mahomes, you saw Brady in their prime. And more so for me, I saw the end of the Brady and the Manning. I said Mahomes, I meant Manning run. Even Eli Manning winning a couple Super Bowls. You saw all of that. And now you get to blossom into this new age. And the young football fans who maybe just came about because of what the Jags have done here in Jacksonville or in whatever city you may live in, and you grabbed onto Trevor Lawrence in South Carolina. I'm sure they did that. In Georgia, they did that, where Trevor Lawrence is from. And you have all these young players to be excited about the quarterback position. Outside the quarterback position as well, but especially at the quarterback position. That's fun. And not that football and the NFL needed any more help, but there's some more help. People are still going to be locked in for the next 20 years, guaranteed. We got to take a break. That was a long first segment, Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton. We're back right after this.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A gusty line of showers and a few rumbles of thunder through early this evening, then clearing later tonight and turning much cooler. We'll drop into the 40s by morning, leading to a cool Thursday, but at least lots of sun. It'll be quite windy and highs only near 60 degrees. For the CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack's First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Before you buy a diamond anywhere, shop Beard's Diamonds.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
I hate the struggle of tough, greasy messes on my stovetop. So I just freak, wipe, and I'm done.
When I'm frustrated with stubborn bathtub soap scum, I just freak, wipe, and I'm done.
Mr. Clean Clean Freak delivers an innovative cleaning experience with a powerful, deep cleaning mist that starts working on contact to break down tough messes in seconds.
Just freak,
wipe,
done.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Straight Talk Wireless knows there are plenty of reasons you might need a new phone. But switching to a better wireless provider doesn't have to be one of them. Keep your own phone and save when you switch to any Straight Talk Wireless plan, like our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with unlimited high-speed data and 5 gigs of hotspot, plus nationwide 5G. Keep your own phone. Switch to a better wireless plan. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Requires a compatible unlocked phone and KYOP kit. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See latest terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
American Window Products offers free low-E coating on select windows at an affordable price that can help reduce your energy usage with 12 months zero-interest financing. Visit AmericanWindowProducts.com for a free estimate.
Financing available at time of sale for new orders only.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
Look around you. There's history being made. Has been. Will be. Just something about those blue skies, high banks and high speed, all coming together in one perfect race. And it'll be here sooner than you think. The Daytona 500 at Daytona International Speedway, February 19th, 2023. Get your tickets now at Daytona500.com.
The Players is proud to support the Boys and Girls Clubs on their mission to inspire and enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to realize their full potential as productive, responsible, and caring citizens. It's 41 days until the Players.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinsky. The physicians at Prime Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Prime Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 904-664-8214. 904-664-8214. That's 904-664-8214.
Hey, it's Brent Mortno from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690.
Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690 on a Wednesday. Brian Middleton is the broadcast on. Kasey Kurtz is myself, and we take you up until 7 o'clock, about 25 more minutes on the show. A couple of comments during the last segment. Little Big Man, I believe, says Joe is going to become only the third QB to win a national championship and Super Bowl. It's a good stat. Oh, and then he says name the other two. That is difficult, actually, because in the break, we just did this without the national championship part, talking about the last quarterbacks to win from the AFC, and we decided that I decided that the AFC is super up for grabs at the top tier quarterback position, and then the NFC is just everybody. That is a good question. I actually don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head, because like Cam Newton, they lost. It's a good question. Let me think about it. And by think about it, I mean Google. I'm just kidding. I will think about it, though. Getting the brain working here. Little Big Man, I appreciate you. Also, Ryder, I believe, on Facebook. My eyes are getting bad. It's far away. So I hope that is right. AFC for decade plus was Peyton, Tom, Ben, and Flacco. And that's what we just decided in the break. Like, it's crazy that those are your guys. Those were your Super Bowl winners. And we talk about now that the AFC has all of these good quarterbacks. So can somebody go on a run like that? Like Tom did. I mean, that's different. But like even like a Peyton Manning did, I don't know. Big Ben, even still, I don't know. I think there's just a lot of good quarterbacks in the AFC right now that it'll be tough. And then the NFC somehow figures out how to win every time with like Nick Foles and Russell Wilson and people. So
he does something.
It ain't that something. Little Big Man's letting us know they're both named Joe. I'm so lost. I should definitely know. I'm going to think about it while we're doing this or that.
Montana? Would that be one?
I don't.
This is tougher. Oh,
you got one of them. Or that's is that Jim?
Namath. No.
Namath in Montana. Huh.
Look at Little Big Man.
Little Big Man, that's good trivia. I'm not surprised Jim got it. And not to, call myself young again, I was definitely not alive for any of that.
Don't do that. Don't be like that. Don't be like that.
That was my thought, but
I'm telling you what, though, Jim, listen, man, whenever we do trivia, man, make sure that you're locked in, man. Put the notifications on.
I need you. I need you desperately. Let's do this or that.
This or that, Kasey.
I'm ready.
All right.
So music bed, ready to roll. Hold on, one more comment.
Yeah.
I knew there was one, I just couldn't pull it up. Jacob Rex says, this Super Bowl will be interesting. This will prove the question people have been arguing for years. So there you go. Interact on the chat. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, even Twitter. ESPN690 Jax. You'll find the boys. Let's do it. This or that.
This or that. All right, Kasey. First two receiving cores, Cincinnati's or San Francisco?
We're not counting tight ends, right? Like I know you said receiving core, but just to clarify.
You can, yes, you're including tight ends.
That makes it tougher. Because I was going to go Cincinnati because they're 3 deep. But then you got George Kittle. I'm still going Cincinnati. Because if you add in, listen, I'm not going to sit here and try to sell you that Hayden Hurst is the greatest tight end to ever play. He is from Jacksonville, though. Shout out to that. Scored a touchdown last week. Serviceable. Good player. So if you look at that, they go 4 deep. And also, this dude, Trenton Irwin, who, again, I'm not going to sell you as great, continues to be on the field and feels like catch big passes for the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know who he is. His last name's Irwin. Look for him on Sunday. I like what San Francisco has. I think Brandon Ayuk is super, super underrated. But I got to go with Cincinnati. They got the star power, and I think they got the depth. Yeah, Cincinnati.
All right, Kasey, moving on to the next topic. Lockdown defense. The Eagles or the 49ers?
I got to go San Francisco.
Wow, that was quick.
You got to.
You made it seem like it was a struggle to say, but I feel like it wasn't a struggle for you. That was a good act.
You got to.
Wow.
Every level is good. You can throw on them a little bit, but you usually can't because of the pass rush. Fred Warner is something special. People are intrigued to see that matchup if they do play Kansas City in the Super Bowl because can he handle Travis Kelce? And the vast majority thinks, yeah, probably he can. So I just think San Francisco is an all-time defense right now. There's very few weak spots, and they're dominant. But, hey, don't sleep on the Philly defense. I know I just did, but don't sleep on the Philly defense. They're good as well.
Coaching, Nick Sirianni or Zach Taylor?
I like Zach Taylor, but like Nick Sirianni's pretty good. Nick Sirianni's a good coach. Like, who would have thought? They went to the playoffs last year. They're the #1 seed this year, and I think the biggest thing there is Jalen Hurts went from, we drafted him, maybe he'll be our quarterback, to then playing, being like, we still don't know, we'll give it one more try. And on that one more try, they're the #1 seed, and he could potentially win the Super Bowl and win the MVP. So I think the development of Jalen Hurts points me more to Nick Sirianni because I think Joe Burrow was good either way. Right? I know Zach Taylor has helped that development, but it wasn't a sure thing with Jalen Hurts. That's why he wasn't picked in the first round. I think Nick Sirianni has developed him, and now it is a sure thing. Now he is their quarterback. Now he's looking at one of them big-time extensions when his time is up. So I'll go Sirianni, but I like what Zach Taylor's doing. You know that.
Okay. Almost trying to ride the fence, but you gave a definitive answer. Good job.
Thank you.
More overrated, Starbucks or Chipotle? There's a right answer.
Yeah. Chipotle. Like Chipotle. Prices at Chipotle be going up, though. Listen, I like Chipotle. But
you already said that.
How? Every time I get a bowl, there's less and less chicken, though.
Less
and less.
Dollops.
And you don't think I know what you're doing? You're adding more rice. So it still weighs the same. I see you. I know what you're doing. And then here's the crazy part. You slide the double protein, right? Trying to get full. It's a regular size serving.
That's all it is.
I'm like, come on, somebody. Man, I do be liking Chipotle, though. I be paying it. So maybe I'm the idiot. But, I gotta go Chipotle.
More important Jaguars free agent signing. Jawan Taylor, Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram. Listen, I want...
Holy smokes, man. Okay.
I think Jawan Taylor should be back. I think he played well enough. I know you can argue Walker Little should play. I get it. I understand. I think they're better with as many resources as you can get. But they had a tight end for the first time, and it feels like forever, and they won a playoff game. That shouldn't surprise you. They finally get a tight end who's good. At the bare minimum, they were looking for a tight end that was serviceable. Couldn't find that. You get this guy, he becomes really good, really fast, and they win a playoff game. Look at the teams that are left in the playoffs. Travis Kelce, George Kittle. Hayden Hurst is the worst of the four because then Dallas Goedert. Apparently, it takes a big-time tight end to win the Super Bowl right now. Look at the Patriots dynasty. Fella named Gronk. I mean...
You going to go down the rest of that tight end room for the Patriots?
Well, I mean, it moved a couple times. Aaron Hernandez was there at times. I know that. Is that what you were trying to get at?
He's a Florida Gator, man.
Yeah, I can't say anything. But yes, he was a Florida Gator. I almost said something that I shouldn't have. I got to go Evan Ingram. They need him. They need him in that room. It'll make things easier for Trevor. Trevor loves him. It'll make Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk that much more open when we get to the season. So I got to go Evan Ingram, but I strongly believe they should bring back Jawan Taylor if they can.
That's what's up. Little Big Man in the chat definitely agrees with you. All caps, Evan Ingram. So, the stream agrees. Let's go back to coaching. Kyle Shanahan or Andy Reid?
Andy Reid.
That's the right answer.
Yeah.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, Andy Reid's just a classic. He's good. And Shanahan's done a good job, especially with the three quarterbacks. I get it. They fumbled some things along the way. Trey Lance feels like a distant memory and probably will be for the San Francisco 49ers because I can't imagine that he goes back in there. I mean, he's done a good job to get him to this point, but I think Andy Reid's he's at the top right now. Can you dethrone him? There's ways. It can be done, but right now he's at the top.
Just a side note, is John Lynch the best GM in the league?
Possibly.
Maybe we'll talk about that later on because I'm trying to figure out who else is in that running. All right, let's wrap up with a couple more.
Balky.
Absolutely. Kasey Kurtz. Absolutely. Right answer. Right answer. Better game. Chiefs versus Bengals, 49ers versus Eagles.
Better game is AFC bias, so Chiefs Bengals.
All right. Next up, what are you more excited to cover, the Super Bowl or the players?
Oh, Super Bowl. 100%. I love me some golf, though, but...
That's why I asked.
Listen, man, it's a good question, but I probably ain't never getting back to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever, man.
Might as well do it one time. Live in the moment. Hopefully the Bengals are there. I'll be real with you. But if they're not, I'll be there at the Mahomes press conference too. Look, listen for your boy.
Being like, I was the one person that didn't believe in you.
Literally.
As an MVP.
He might call me out. That'd be great.
Can I get your signature?
Maybe not the time.
All right, Kasey, that's it for this or that.
That is it for this or that on Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton. We have 15 minutes or so to go, and we wrap it up on the other side with some For Your Defense. We'll be right back.
Attention Dish customers. Dish Network dropped WFOX Fox 30, depriving you of your favorite programs. That means no more football playoffs this weekend or leading up to the big game in February. Call Dish now at 1-800-333-3474 and tell them to put WFOX Fox 30 back on the air. Don't let Dish keep you from the important news, weather, sports, and entertainment programming you love. Call Dish now at 1-800-333-3474 and then switch to another TV provider.
The holidays are behind us, and that means nothing but open road ahead. So make every mile this new year the best it can be in a new Toyota from Arlington Toyota. Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Tundra, Tacoma. Arlington Toyota's got 400 new Toyotas available and ready for wherever you want to go in 2023. Plus, every new car purchase from Arlington Toyota comes with a lifetime warranty and Arlington's 30-day exchange program. Where will your new Toyota take you in 2023? Find out and shop ArlingtonToyota.com today.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
The Dream 18 card used to be a secret, not anymore, and we can tell with the December sales. Happy New Year and Happy New Golfing Year. You can use the Dream 18 card right now, started January 1st, and can be used to save on greens fees on some of the best golf courses in the area all the way until the end of 2023. Golf Club at Southampton, St. John's Golf and Country Club, Hidden Hills, Osprey Cove, The Yards, Amelia River Golf Club, Eagle Landing, Fleming Island Golf Club, and Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club. Buy it now for just $69 and save hundreds of dollars at Action Sports Shacks, Dream18.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's go time at UNF Arena for the Ospreys as the calendar is flipped to 2023. ASUN action is underway in men's and women's basketball on the campus of the University of North Florida. If you haven't seen a game courtside or from the new suite, it's one of the best seats in Jacksonville. Swoop with the Ospreys as they build toward a run in March. Buy a ticket, see a schedule, get a score at UNFOspreys.com. Be a part of the momentum at the University of North Florida. Hoop it up, swoop it up, UNFOspreys.com.
Shinedown, the Revolution's live tour. Friday, April 14th, VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. With special guest, 3 Days Grace. And From Ashes to New. On sale Friday, January 27th at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Shinedown live.
For survivors of domestic violence in Duval and Baker counties, Hubbard House provides free, confidential emergency shelter and services. Call our 24-hour hotline at 904-354-3114.
Jacksonville is a great place to live, and if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course, the family home. Why put your money in a New York City bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Start the year off stress-free and sell your home with the Mark Spain Real Estate Guaranteed Offer. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry, so you can sell your home stress-free and make the most money. When you get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, there are no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Find out what your guaranteed offer would be. There's no obligation. Call 855-299-SOLD or go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Certain restrictions apply.
ESPN690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690. Is this a new music bed?
Yeah, a bunch of them, man.
I like
a bunch of new music beds.
Well done. I appreciate you. Brian Middleton on the ones and twos, producing and playing the new music beds. Kasey Kurtz is myself. Nothing really to do with the music beds, but I appreciate them when I hear them and when they're new. Anyway, a couple minutes to go in the show. We take you to 7 o'clock. Most nights, if not every night. We will do so again tomorrow and Friday to close out the week. But before we close out a Wednesday, how about some For Your Defense, Brian Middleton? Let it breathe. Let it breathe. All right, let's go.
All right, Kasey. I don't have to announce how to do this. You already know.
Let's do it.
Accused of not having the fastest of starts to a career in the third degree, Trayvon Walker was not a finalist for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Defend Mr. Walker and make the case that he was not only the right pick for the Jags, but he also had a good season. And go.
Listen, you weren't sure how you were going to use the guy at first. You move him around during the season, which looks like it's going to be a good move, but you saw flashes, right? You saw these plays and what is possible for this guy. There's no doubt he's a freak athlete. And you know what? You need an off season to figure out what it is. That first season, it comes at you fast. Ask Trevor Lawrence last year. You have a whole off season to develop. You need help on the other side, which Josh Allen gave them at the end of the year. Hopefully they continue that into next year. But give this guy one off season. Just one off season, and see what he looks like coming into training camp next year.
All right, one more, Kasey.
Let's do it.
The Jags don't have individual season-ending awards like the NFL, but let's say they did. Defend your client, Jawaan Taylor, and make the case that he is the Jags comeback player of the year for the entire team over everyone, including a Rayshawn Jenkins. And go.
Jawaan Taylor, this is a guy, my client, that some of y'all wanted cut. You said Walker Little's going to play on the right side and everything's going to be fine. Jawaan hasn't been good enough for this team. And then Jawaan said, hold up, let me win that job back at the last second. And then for most of the year, let me dominate on this right side. It's clear. You tried to cast me out, say you don't need me here no more. You drafted my replacement, even though it was kind of the left tackle replacement. But you drafted my replacement, and then I'm just going to go and win the job from this guy and play so well. That either y'all gonna pay me or somebody else gonna pay me, right? Somebody giving me big money because I earned it this year. That's what Jawaan Taylor is saying. That's what my client is saying.
True.
I know, because he did earn that big money. How crazy is that? All these guys for the Jags earned big money. Means they played well. Jawaan Taylor earned his paycheck. Evan Ingram earned a paycheck. Rayshawn Jenkins, he wasn't a free agent, I understand it. He wasn't going anywhere, but he earned to not have a restructure or get cut or something like that. All of these guys showed out and are going to get paid for it. You got to appreciate that. You got to appreciate that. That's going to do it for us. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton. We're back tomorrow at 6 o'clock for Brian Middleton. I'm Kasey Kurtz. Have a great night, everybody. I want to eat a spicy chicken in my Tesla. Is it too much to ask?
If you're the victim of a car crash, never rush to settle with the insurance companies